Thank you, Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. At this 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, I'd like to speak about Africa's role in the future of this organization. However, it's impossible to do that without first considering the collective role that Africa played in its founding, which was small and relatively insignificant. Of the 51 member states involved in the founding of the United Nations in 1945, only 4 were African: Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, and South Africa. It is important to point out that the United Nations came into being in the aftermath of World War II because of the inability of its predecessor, the League of Nations, to avert a large-scale global conflict, which had been its guiding purpose when it was founded in 1920 at the end of the First World War. Out of the 42 founding member states of the League of Nations, only 3 were African: Liberia, the Union of South Africa, and Ethiopia. Egypt was to join later in 1937. Africa's overall participation in the organization's founding was minimal and relatively unimportant. That's because before all the other talks and meetings, representatives from a group of 14 nations gathered in Berlin for a series of discussions that began in 1884 and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the African continent, which is also called the Scramble for Africa. It has famously been written that past is prologue. Well, in the past, the majority of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa were never offered a seat at the table where plans for a new world order were being drawn. But, Madam President, as fate would have it, the tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. According to this organization's own projections, by the year 2050, more than 25% of the world's population is expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 2050, 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 will be residing on the African continent. So you see, the future of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again a little louder for those of you in the back. The future is African. Already today, Africa is a catalyst for human potential and development as a foundation and enhance our competitive standing globally. We refer to this process of recalibration as our reset agenda. In just 8 months, we have achieved significant reduction in inflation from 23.8% in December 2024 to 11.5% in August 2025, restoring price stability for our citizens. Additionally, our currency, the Ghana cedi, has appreciated considerably against other currencies, with Bloomberg reporting it as the best performing currency in the world at one point. Our improved sovereign credit rating reflects increasing investor confidence in our economy. And our 24-hour economy initiative promises to transform our economy. And there's a renewed willingness amongst our people to trust that their elected officials have Ghana's interests at heart and that we're progressing together. Madam President, I believe that in honor of this milestone celebration, the United Nations should also embark on a process of serious recalibration and establish its own reset agenda. Since the organization's founding, the number of UN member nations has nearly quadrupled. And quite frankly, it is not the same world that it was back then when the UN was formed. I mentioned earlier that I began my second non-consecutive term as president this past January. My first term ended in January 2017. In that span of time, 8 years, the world has changed with such ferocity. My first days in office after my return felt as though I had just awakened from a Rip Van Winkle-style sleep. Now, no, that was only after 8 years. Imagine then what it will be like after 80 years since the founding of the United Nations. In 1945, the sun had not yet set on the largest empire in history. The most common mode of international travel was by sea. The personal computer had not been invented, let alone made portable. And television, a new convenience, was still in its infancy, albeit in black and white color. Relations between the US and the Soviet Union were turning frosty, with Winston Churchill declaring that an iron curtain has descended across the European continent. Fast track 80 years on, in today's world, hundreds of thousands of commercial flights take off and land every day. Libraries have been digitized so that volumes of literature can exist on a small device, small enough to fit inside your pocket. We live in a world of cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, social media, the internet and its dark hidden dungeon of the dark web, all of which carry a potential threat to global peace and security. Climate change is real, and we're fighting a losing battle against the loss of Maldives and other island nations to the rising sea level, against the loss of Timbuktu to desertification and the Amazon forest to global warming and deforestation. Madam President, the UN Founding Charter is outdated when it comes to representation in this August Assembly. The most powerful post-World War II nations are still being rewarded with an almost totalitarian guardianship over the rest of the world. And yet, the first sentence in Chapter 2, Article 1 of the UN Charter declares that the organization is based on the principle of sovereign equality of all its members. If this were true, and was the case, a continent as large as Africa, with its numerous UN member states, would have at least one permanent seat on the Security Council. Furthermore, we believe that veto power should not be restricted to only 5 nations, nor should it be absolute. There must be a mechanism in this House for the General Assembly to challenge a veto. No single nation should be able to exercise an absolute veto to serve its own interests in a dispute. In 1995, during the 50th anniversary of the United Nations, Nelson Mandela stood in this very spot, and he said, "The United Nations has to reassess its role, redefine its profile, and reshape its structures. It should truly reflect the diversity of our universe and ensure equity among the nations in the exercise of power within the system of international relations in general and the Security Council in particular." I close quotations. 30 years later, we African leaders are still making the same simple request for a permanent seat on the Security Council with the power of a veto. So today, Madam President, I stand here in this exact spot and ask the world, if not now, then when? We demand not only a reform of the Security Council, but also a reset of the global financial architecture, which is currently rigged against Africa. Africa must have a greater say in the world's multilateral financial institutions. And while I'm making requests, I'd like to call for the removal of the blockade on Cuba. As Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, our nation's founder, famously said, "We seek to be friends with all and enemies to none." The Cuban people shed their blood on African soil in the fight against apartheid. And indeed, Cuba has been and continues to be a faithful friend of Africa. You see, the very fact that I can stand here and ask these things and say these things, and the fact that all nations can ostensibly gather here to address critical global issues, air our grievances, and express our concerns, that is what makes the survival of this organization so important. In every old city or village, you will find a town square, or a courtyard, or a plaza that once served as a gathering space for the citizens of the community and their leaders. Meetings and celebrations were held there, as were trials and elections. And these were spaces that brought people together and held them together as a community. Sadly, time and technology have eroded these spaces. Madam President, in many ways, the United Nations is the proverbial town square of our modern global village. And it has never been more critical for us to protect this one space that brings and holds the world nations together as a community. The internet, social media platforms, and artificial intelligence offer us the illusion of connectivity, when in fact what they do is reinforce isolation by using algorithms that ensure that we do not receive new ideas and perspectives, but rather more of the same content. We are served alternative facts and manipulated images, making it easy to disseminate disinformation and sow seeds of division amongst communities. Madam President, these are dangerous times. Our world is currently experiencing a rise in nationalism and economic instability. There's a general breakdown of multilateralism. Various acts of aggression have been committed against the sovereignty of others, and nations are attempting to circumvent the very safeguards that were put in place to prevent large-scale global conflict. These conditions are all too similar to the ones that led to the League of Nations' failure in fulfilling its mandate. The denial of visas to President Abbas and the Palestinian delegation sets a bad precedent and should be deeply worrying to all member nations of the United Nations. Ghana recognized the state of Palestine in 1988 and supported a two-state solution to the conflict since then. And I say, contrary to the claims of some, a two-state solution would not be a reward for Hamas. It would rather be a reprieve for the hundreds of thousands of innocent women and children and people who are facing collective punishment and forced starvation for no reason other than the fact that they are Palestinian. For nearly 2 years and for the fear of reprisals, we here in this General Assembly have been playing hide and seek with language to find the right words to help us avoid or excuse what we all know is taking place in Gaza. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter what you call it. If it looks like a duck, it swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, well, then it must be a duck. The crimes in Gaza must stop. The crimes in Gaza must stop. Madam President, I also want to draw particular attention to the conflict in Sudan, which this body has described as the world's largest humanitarian crisis. 12 million people have had to flee their homes. And when we speak of migration, we refer to the 12 million new Sudanese refugees, whom we as a global community should be willing to assist in much the same way that many member nations readily assisted new refugees coming out of Ukraine. Let's dispense with the euphemisms and dog whistles and speak frankly. It is not a mystery that when leaders of Western nations complain of their migration problems, they are often referring to immigrants from the global south. But many of those immigrants are climate refugees. And interestingly, the global north emits 75% more greenhouse gases than the global south. However, the effects of climate change are more severe in the global south because we lack the resources to address them effectively. And so when the desert encroaches on our villages and towns and they become unlivable, we are forced to flee. Ansah Shire, a Somali-born prophet, a Somali-British poet born in Kenya to Somalian refugee parents, was London's first youth poet laureate. She writes in her poem titled Home. And it says, you have to understand that no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. No one bends their palms under trains beneath carriages. No one spends days and nights in the stomach of a truck feeding on newspaper unless the miles traveled mean something more than just a journey. Madam President, we cannot normalize cruelty. We cannot normalize hatred. We cannot normalize xenophobia and racism. If we're going to tell a story, let's not tell it slant. Let's tell all the truth. When we speak of migrants, we speak of Mami Ewusi Mensah Frimpong, a judge on the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. She is the first black female judge on any of California's 4 federal district courts. She was born here in America to immigrant parents from Ghana. We speak of Peter Bosman, a medical doctor in Ghana who moved to the town of Piran in Slovenia in the 1980s and later became the first black mayor of Piran, the first black mayor in Slovenia and in the whole of Eastern Europe. We speak of T. Michael, the iconic Ghanaian Norwegian artist and designer. And of course, we speak of the late Kofi Annan, former United Nations Secretary General. Former United Nations Secretary General and Nobel Peace Prize recipient, who was born in Ghana but spent his adulthood in various places in America and Europe. These are people who have brought great distinction to the countries that they decided to call home. Just as the migrants and the children of migrants before them did, I dare say these are not invaders. These are not criminals. Madam President, the slave trade must be recognized as the greatest crime against humanity. As the African champion on reparations, Ghana intends to introduce a motion in this august body to that effect. More than 12.5 million Africans were forcibly taken against their will and transported to create wealth for the powerful Western nations. We must demand reparations for the enslavement of our people and the colonization of our land that resulted in the theft of our natural resources, as well as the looting of artifacts and other items of cultural heritage that have yet to be returned in total. We recognize the value of our land and the value of our lives, as did our colonizers, as well as the governments that happily paid reparations to former slave owners as compensation for the loss of their property, in quotes, and that property for which they received compensation was paid referred to enslaved people who had been freed. Madam President, an increasingly insecure world is witnessing upward spending on defense budgets of bilateral partners and steep cuts in official development assistance. Since July 2024, it is estimated that there's been a 40% drop in humanitarian aid globally. In this era of global uncertainty, Africa must exercise sovereignty over its natural resources to raise the necessary funds to ensure the well-being of its citizens. The days of parceling out vast concession areas to foreign interests for exploitation must come to an end. We'll continue to welcome foreign investment, but we must negotiate better for a bigger share of the natural resources that belong to us. And we must insist on value addition to these resources. We're tired of the continued image of poverty-stricken, disease-ridden rural communities living at the periphery of huge foreign-controlled natural resource concession areas. We're tired of having people extract the most they can from us and in return offer us the very least by way of respect, consideration, and dignity. We're tired of not being represented in ways that reveal the richness and complexity of our history or acknowledge all that we have overcome to arrive here in this liminal space of untold possibilities. Allow me to echo the Indian-American writer Arundhati Roy, who wrote, "Another world is not only possible, she's on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing." I want to add that for the sake of Africa, and quite selfishly for the sake of my 18-year-old daughter, I hope that this new world that is arriving is a place of safety and equality for women and girls. To succeed, we must empower everyone, including women and girls, to reach their full potential. In closing, Madam President, I'd like to congratulate you on your election to preside over this historic 80th General Assembly and on being the 5th woman to hold this distinction. I'd also like to congratulate Her Excellency Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman on being the first woman Vice President of Ghana. Now every Ghanaian girl knows the heights to which she can ascend. Words matter, but issues of representation matter even more, which is why Ghana looks forward to the appointment of a woman as Secretary General of this organization in the near future. Madam President, Your Excellencies, I thank you for your kind attention.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I wish
Thank you, Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. At this 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, I'd like to speak about Africa's role in the future of this organization. However, it's impossible to do that without first considering the collective role that Africa played in its founding, which was small and relatively insignificant. Of the 51 member states involved in the founding of the United Nations in 1945, only 4 were African: Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, and South Africa. It is important to point out that the United Nations came into being in the aftermath of World War II because of the inability of its predecessor, the League of Nations, to avert a large-scale global conflict, which had been its guiding purpose when it was founded in 1920 at the end of the First World War. Out of the 42 founding member states of the League of Nations, only 3 were African: Liberia, the Union of South Africa, and Ethiopia. Egypt was to join later in 1937. Africa's overall participation in the organization's founding was minimal and relatively unimportant. That's because before all the other talks and meetings, representatives from a group of 14 nations gathered in Berlin for a series of discussions that began in 1884 and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the African continent, which is also called the Scramble for Africa. It has famously been written that past is prologue.
National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project, or DRIP, National Lotteries, Palgo Multipurpose Dam, SML, Frontier Healthcare Services, Free Wi-Fi, National Ambulance, Bonkra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, Sputnik V vaccines case, and the land looting cases. In the case of the land looting cases, 8 have been completed and then 1 is outstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a sense of what pertains. When the dockets are brought to my office, and the latest set of dockets were brought 2 weeks ago, I go through them diligently with the prosecution staff, the attorneys in the prosecution division, and other lawyers we work with, and then we can build a case and advise the investigators as to what to do when we find loopholes that may be exploited by defense attorneys. So I want to give 2 examples. In the case of the Bonkra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, the report has been returned to my office. We have done our reading of the report and analysis of it, and we've come to the conclusion that there is a need for us to have a value for money audit, because that is the only way by which we'll determine the extent to which there was malfeasance relating to the finances of the project. But so far, nothing has been discovered that should, cause us to take action in court in terms of criminality. I'll give another example. The District Road Improvement Project, which is DRIP. We did the investigation. The preliminary report was returned to my office. I studied it. I gave directions as to what to do. And the investigators have gone back to do went back to do their work. And they came back with a report that I can tell you has, pinpointed certain acts of malfeasance that we are working on. So, for instance, in the case of DRIP, they were overpaid. That is, JA Plant Pool was overpaid by $2 million. The contract sum was 176 million United States of American dollars. On the face of the contract, that is the sum that was stated. When we examined the invoices of payments, it was 178 million that was paid. So right away, there was a difference of $2 million. So we asked that $2 million be paid back by JA Plant Pool. We also realized that 190 pieces of equipment were added and cleared without payment of tax. In other words, they were added to the list as if they were tax exempt. I asked the investigators to go back, look at the HS code, and for those of you, HS code is a harmonized code that the customs officers use to determine the classification and taxes applicable to goods. When they did the analysis following the HS code, it came out that 38.7 million Ghana cedis of taxes were evaded. So in respect of the two sums, that is the $2 million, JFH Plant Pool has been asked, we have made a demand on them to pay that money. Then when it comes to the taxes, we have asked GRA, because under the tax laws, it is GRA that can make a demand for the payment of the taxes. So we've asked that GRA should make a demand for the 38.7 million. Now that is our investigators' assessment. GRA may come out with a different figure because they are the tax experts. So our investigators' figure may be confirmed or even adjusted upwards depending on what the GRA says. Now, when it comes to the issue of over-invoicing, we noticed that they were over-invoiced by between, that is the equipment, the drip equipment were over-invoiced by between 100 to 300%. All right, so I give you an example. One piece of equipment which costs $40,000, the government paid $84,000 for that equipment. That is over 110%. And so we are now diligently looking through all the equipment, and you can imagine that the equipment for all the districts, there were, hundreds of pieces of equipment. So we are going through each one of them because we are looking at a criminal investigation. And in criminal law, charges must be specific. If you miss the element of specificity, your case will be thrown out. And that is why I keep urging Ghanaians to be patient, because we need diligent investigation so that when I send a case to court, we don't have any.
Hello everyone. Today I want to provide you with the latest information about what is happening to prices in Ghana. The prices of things we all buy every day like food, clothes, fuel and transport. Every month, the Ghana Statistical Service tracks these prices using what we call the Consumer Price Index, or CPI for short. It simply shows whether goods and services are getting more expensive or cheaper over time. I'll walk you through the results of Ghana's Consumer Price Index and inflation for October 2025, what the numbers mean, what's driving them, and what they tell us about how prices are changing across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, in October 2025, inflation reduced to 8% from 9.4% in September. This means that prices in Ghana were 8% higher in October 2025 than they were in October last year. This inflation rate is what we call year-on-year inflation. It tells us how much prices have changed over 12 months. The 8% year-on-year inflation rate is lower than the September 2025 inflation rate of 9.4% by 1.4 percentage points, and far below the inflation rate of 23.8% we saw at the end of last year. This marks the 10th straight month of decline in inflation and the lowest inflation rate in 4 years. When we look at prices from September to October 2025, that is month-on-month inflation, prices actually fell a little by 0.4%. So on the average, things cost slightly less in October than in September. This continued slowdown confirms that Ghana's prices are stabilizing after a long period of volatility. Let's break this down further. Inflation for food items like water, cereals and cereal products, fruits and nuts fell to 9.5% in October from 11% in September. This means that food prices went up 9.5% in October compared to last year. Food prices, however, fell by 1% between September and October this year, a sign that food costs are easing. Inflation for non-food items like clothes and rent declined to 6.9% in October from 8.2% in September. There was barely no change in non-food prices between September and October. Inflation for goods like rice, soap, or fuel slowed sharply to 9.3% in October from 11.2% in September. Month to month, good prices dropped by 0.7%. Inflation for services like transport and repairs eased slightly from 4.8% in September to 4.6% in October, though services costs rose by 0.5% between the 2 months. Inflation for locally made goods eased from 10.1% in September to 8% in October. On month-on-month basis, the prices of locally made items reduced by 0.7% between the 2 months. Inflation for imported items increased from 7.4% in September to 7.8%, while their prices rose by 0.3% between the 2 months. Now, which products mattered most in October 2025 inflation? The top 5 contributors to inflation in October 2025 were smoked herrings, 5.9% contribution, green plantain, 5.6% contribution, cinema and cultural services, 5.1% contribution, cooked rice, 4.6% contribution, and charcoal, 4.6% contribution, altogether contributing about 26% to the October 2025 inflation. Similarly, the top 5 items with the highest inflation rates were ginger, which recorded an inflation rate of 94.1%, green plantain, 61.6%, cinema and cultural services, 52.9%, 41.3%, and lime, 39.8%. Most are food items, reflecting how weather patterns, transport costs, and local supply conditions continue to shape price movements across the country.
Because a husband burns wife, 5 children, suspected wife of infidelity. Sometimes, mani be ujune hokra untiaze. Again, besi ama bema washe wayere ashe wuma menu. What sense does it make? And the middle of and Casadi, the Kwame baby who phone calls pa. Because not me follow story, no, and I'm like, so what shit Nigeria asking ma 5. And yours my Accra100.5FM news, and you are familiar with us. But the question is, Bema not dream in a canon. You dream in a thing. Nipan wakum be pain and him. That in like Bonnie Ben potting powder, we did bet me a wow besson or drivers. Granted, say, Ojina said be edu bonia. Na Oma no swear. One shabako, one shimianu, one shimiansa, one shanai. What's same mamma moon? What sense does it make? And a daily graphic front page I reported. You see, Kwame, I know say me baba hear a lot of politics and a jano beba I know a sepa because Kwame and me call your Philistines and seminum. Me call no I want to say Eastern and seven me can be an sometimes on mine your timino I am in who send your tassi agony. Etienne no me grandpa no makasa seminum. Against how I come say me this is what the press release be about bonting you be call so. Yatra kuna Bruce with you strike say about some Ghana and you better say me am when and Kwame won the 13th All African Games. Alman Penya director and this is a promise will make you was in opposition. And no kase was here shame and also you be rem na you din komo akra. And ya boy who you be adwuma but you see when I saw this story I make say no it cannot be work as usual. Say my who story way now will pretend. I mean the question is about the same. Na very ma wawade. And maybe you can share your opinions with us on Facebook live on Accra100.5FM. Na wuzira winning it here. And my 5 children. Oh sorry dakura. What peja? Se kerosene, se petrol, se tapintayo, se diesel. Obi nim adekwadi a de say se kerosene so a aso we yida se uma mamunum nyina. And the question am be say eti boni ben pa anoba ye wo. And Kwame nieti hu hia ne say you go to a lot of homes. Me there I am make say Erade empower the that is true. Osumnu ankasa empower the that is true, but our dear ho betena ho awudie masa separate ubekomwa na there's an underpinning factor be ada no be brama ne catch na say we make one fan serious there are a lot of people who tell what they are saying you are threatening so many times they have died so many times before their death oguso tell what they are saying o twem wo guansa Nigeria ni musician what they saying oh momo me Nigeria ni ya ni kuruku ni wana mudi anyum to yachi me refini din why gospel musician who say a complain the software and then the software and nyahwe and Erade say you benya 1,001 quotations of free Bible no Quran mu hia o mu refi quotations no Erade amanipa nyansa sanka Erade be bibia amanipa through spiritual means and come manipa dwene come adwene 23 so there are times Erade say forget about spirituality use your common sense use your gumption use wadwene na wade na ati asiri ebeku na suafo ni bi say Jesus say wana mamre mu no se obi eware oba na se bema ni ho a obema no a wodi ade no oware oba no enti obi say Jesus say na ni odi kan no ware oba no ene bema ni ho a wawuo no foforo no ono so aba be ware oba no ene foforo a ebi ono so be wo ono so aba be ware oba no yemfa de say Woma ware no akoto so be ensun the same woman but wa ware 7 husbands because o ware we na we yawu ye duru asoro himamu a hwan pa ana ne yere no oba no such an intelligent question we just bisa Yesu kura no question akwa bisa question ya Yesu kan ne so awade bia ni ho masa men kotra sa awade na sinwu we mi di fam but the hu hia me pa enkodai what was their future like or were their future like. No, but that's it to say. None can be president, and none can be lawyers, doctors, and a soft penny for imams, and then they are gone. Or make be this year, and then makwa. And this is a serious matter. We should not sweep under carpet. I don't know why, but Kwame, they be because you're tranquil, the Brunswa, a home in a castle. O Trebian point and Kropomba say Yadom. Quote your man sat to Quaframwa. Kokromoti san ho bopanya yi no dan kwaje botan no ye tra nkonya brusu a o se bibibu yasom you know enti ni bacho we a word of caution advice what our wade ase na de bia wo obi won mo atra wade ase ne ahwe nso segu no so not wo yetimi hiti ayon na de atal na chi o se mo friend nti hey maami mo friend nti bawu papa am a friend into Bew. I'm afraid to be you cram my one here. Ubatrom and Kakura Fiafi. Please. Me mom dear me can in playing your plane fan. A radim paying free my brabum. But some metra what dear home. Now me try deal with partner dear Becumina for saying. Am I na? And your lumber na kai. One tenase my baba kunkuno, me man pimpim money yes. On tenase, ma obaba kunkumuno, ma a man pimpim money yes. Dam kata say. Eti bema no, ana oba no so beka so one tenase, ma bema ba kunkunu me man pimpim money yes. Let's take you from this. Let's take you. What will be cool free? Oh, we are going to na adwene mu ka no. They say the aban no. Why say give to a worry no? Huh? Give to a worry. Time we offer Ghana ska. Na na adwene correct. Huh? E drew say who say court sembebam. Kwesha say ko hospital. Mental problem, mental agony. Say ne be ya. E bedroom time where you be try no. Na kwesi say odokra no ba hospital. E be je adwene ma ya rehwe. Kofo kroma dwene o. Anomde nam kroma. Ti yesterday mame. Now ade ni sura himam. It is fine see ebe ware odom ani gem. Ana asofo mpanimfo a sa wa de sem ne bom animu amam nim sa ade we de betuma kuma still munya quotation munya sa ne ma no. Munya sa ne ma no. Na wo asofo rekra bia ka wagya wo de. Munya sa ne ma no. Wo hwe na ade na betimi e de wo hawa ba man let them separate. So Kwame, that's just by the way. Where you somewhere na me person maker. Emliko bebre nti no ye nya enough time san ko bohwe but over Facebook nso an wa share my live on Accra100.5 FM. Jumadi ndi the Citizen Show me ndi Nana Otu Dako and there's Kwame Kwache producer 1 bra asise Jumadi also Otu tenase na je ade no ho fans. But me for we ntwam Ansah we free the presidency dated and ya wada November boso me de tosun sia fimpinu ni aduonu ye wemu etifia sem was the state funeral of former first lady. The government of Ghana under the auspices of President John Dramani Mahama will hold a state funeral for the late former first lady Mrs. Nana Kwinadu Ajima Rawlings on Friday 28 November 2025 at the Independence Square. The state funeral is in recognition of Mrs. Rawlings' invaluable contributions to the advancement of the rights of women and children in Ghana and national development. Into a Phyllis Kwachi Ofosu Meshabejani Osanso Kasama former Bain Minister Government Communications and the other two. Now it's official, even though Mr. President Ekai da Omoko regional say your mama state barrier even as first lady and then nice, it's been made official. But Kwame, my mission free a year I would to Senya East. Felix na Koyo. Even Accra100.5FM. I don't know pandemic CJ and Obo tape will be poor say in the build up to the last elections, Mame Felix na Koyo. TV3. I don't know if it's coming a man or one of them. And an interview no na all church the name same fa acrophobia who no sha see to near there. And that's utie a communication na a free minister in charge of interior Alhaji Mubarak Muntakahwa a bra and that and some more can na ko wi say abra omuhia Mame Phyllis na Koyo MPP Mrashebe Dwania or wutu Senya East. Nia wakan ne say na oni biaya sa etututu no kura course wono. It's no a different stance from the position wakan and mahunu say bibredi aguni so ne niema ne ade. You see, Kwame, let me state here and now say and question say MPs no they should take you from some of these things. And so what the politics are here, your friend be political temperament. Political speeches, political statements. Me fan question say a political statement, but you see usually in the heat of the moment, whether MPP and NDC, one way one way you can, because in the heat of the moment, agenda the whole say winning, and again their political strategies. Even in politics, they be the Machiavellian tactics. yeah, the winning elections. Some of my bongo kuma intimidia and some of the buy ya namuki kamusiandi. Tie, assembly say, Yentimin pre assembly and to baby and play with the peripherals of the matter. Kwame Dena making. Idea we see instead say uncle mine ya beka sania kase. One more is show my coin free woman. Young pattern name we should fight for justice no obianka wasem. Na call your kind wanka. Says you not done discussion for a serious country like Ghana. Whether or not na call your kind. And Crofonwa and a cratch na no you know and the banquem. So the question is obi we and obi we yes me come kola ti I'm using my common sense. Maybe so and we obi we and obi and the truth is obi we. Eti so obi we and obi no. Whether or not na call your kaya, how does it change no kure fast some who say obi we? Eti kame hunu yen kwame. Etwase nyina ni break to make sure say obi bia wo ball to okum so ni pa no we bring the person to book and they say here is all mine. Yes, I'll come to the other side. I said be MP and now you're parliamentary candidate and now you're presidential aspirant. Sometimes you know that's all you can say because one here and penyufo say wonu masem ne do bebu for. Eti mentra no mon kase bia mame call your ekan bibia eko wi ase na ntesa no nti no odibem. No, I'll not say that. But the point I'm making is the substance of the matter. The substance of the matter, whether or not obi wuye. It is obi wuya and crofone twase yakwa hwehwam a omo edi sa nyambransam kumoni pa ko na say you spend your time and energy making sure say we bring those perpetrators to book no. How is now call your whether or not or can sense them no more important sin crofone say call hwemachiri kwan. And I see people jumping into the fray. Even NDC for jumping into the fray. In any case, why name him how a kumsin netibia okroma? No. In any case, a fake one wa bankraya. How a kumsin? Won't him for how a kumsin crampua? How a kumsin was it 2018 there about? I've forgotten the year. What or admit is or no ball to no. Or admit it or no ball to no babesio or admit it or it walk quiet then oh baby at waba. These are important issues we talk in this country. The same way and a cocoa too was a black man off. Acrophobia head bat and what or macas were your bar make me condemn say or body and yensa bema yentri and sour basso. Where's a walk crasini? Won't talk on the beman cocoa or boa ubuna fine a massa munkumenim. That cat has a body yensa more bar. Ubia besa be o krasini eti kratch no head batty you know how akum say no me condemn me but you me say who say the same how akum say no kobo tuo ah onim say yen fa tuo enko election center as what they call it no the same person the pepper spray masa mum yanyu ne ho okroma o mama unyu so bia ye don okroma masa mum yanyu ne the same person the pepper spray ekọ ba bia to aba what they call it ho I didn't say some way the refi. Now you say now call your kind one cat. Will they bring the person back to life? And some who here a casa so mine we are quiet about it. Matis and now call so by and I also by BB. Come also by casa also by 5 p.m. Also by a press briefing. Minimum now call your person. And okay, and there was a meeting with the press. Events, meeting with the press date today, 6th November 2025. Location, job 600, Parliament House, 6th floor, conference room. Time, 5 p.m. But the truth is one. As I'm now kind of tape, you may have said it in the heat of the moment. Anna, near Minister for Interior, kind also tape, say you denied. So obey me humble advice. I mean, apologize to the people of this country and move on. But enye adie bia ye so critical. Akronfo kura de sika ye ntiwam. Kano for yata kura gusu ti America. Sense way hu here no ye janu ne ye kan na akoyo. I mean, is it where matter? Nyankofo bebre aka political platforms bi nie. Kwame, enye o ma we mu ne yete e. Ana bi kan say John Mahama union be shom, ho ba shom ho. A lot of things and Grofo ebinie. look, like I said, I will not be here to support, say, we're a parliamentary candidate, we're a presidential aspirant, and now you're a member of parliament. Say one thing and do a different thing. No. We cannot build the foundation of our country on the tenets of untruth. Yet to me fan tro and you know mine. It is all young people ni so young destiny. Me adia wo huri yemenka. Nyameka ati ase. But the point I'm making is say sankamene maame na akoyo a menim asem obeka de me ne nsam no a ehu hia no wo man ne nka ene ha me enkrofo no a no de pako na wawu no abusua na ahwere won dehye no no kum ni pako no we must spend our energies, put our arsenals together. Instead of na akoyo kan ana wanka no yankwete sa oni pako ne mra eno na more important. But akwai say dua no ne man no ana ye ka ho asem dua tere nan kasa de ye jai. When we say bibi maya and a branch, we are just touching on the branches of the tree, and we have left the tree itself to chance. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. And you must see Okroma under the past 8 years of a Kufadu near Kankakro Moy. Nabin Kakro Moy. Akakrona bo. To Mummy and Yini who Kroma. Nenyame hianu esafata se yakano te sekeno for ya to be from America ba ye dina sam no edifa ye na tum no mum ye kasa sam no. These are very important matters in our country. Yeah. Someone who will why ese ka okroma. Come.
Senior.
Also can be.
Oh. Sir, but say about 5 now call your press conference.
Crossover.
Yes,
by
crossover. Na I'm saying in that.
Investigate into
on say no crane say senior.
Over Facebook and Washam.
Our kum say no. Now why unpopular? Ewo Kaswa Hono.
Osha no be lose.
Osha from election results from 2016, 2020, and 2024. Now, Claire say, how come she votes na a baffle? Inti, what I say, na koyo, say oh, say onio, and then any issue no. Issue ne say, na how come sin, omo mo kaswano, no mu feeling the view. That's the issue.
That's the issue because then the two assemble doors.
Yes. Because wow, kumsi we jina radio so aka say e tuo bi ko so o ka so na wo kumsi na wo boat atu no.
Kwa no na kan.
Enya me.
Enya me na me kan.
Enya wo.
Na hwan
kumsi na nkasa. Admit on radio. Say there's a certain gunshot and that's atu no. No and the boy. Ono anu masem.
That's what they defending no.
Fine.
There be now the two quiet thing. Oh, be a NAC.
See? Election ya two or Abliquanofi. And found baby.
And found.
So
why the whole Magaja when people? On the coalition, the women
organize it.
People do make me set to travel for party. Yeah.
What you see? Oh, the pepper spray. Alcohol as and pepper spray.
I'm told that the press conference is cancelled.
It's cancelled. Okay. No, because I just spoke with our Nakoyo around 1.
On Nakasa.
Yeah, menen Nakoyo Kasa 1.
And I say
obey. So I just I need to just call her.
Say Robert Azudi also said the press conference is cancelled. But
fine.
Maybe I'm sure say you pick us through some statistics.
Yes.
Because unti kase no on popular keke. Then later maybe we will come to Ansah Mekan because we in a case. I mean,
Sina, we tax force reports now we can. Now you admitting you maybe
committee no.
Committee report no.
Mekan free.
Oh,
the 2024 election violence cases. Awutu Senior East constituency. Kaswa observation. Honorable Phyllis na Koyo Okeno. Is that the name? And Okuno. Deny that her convoy was attacked. She was nowhere near the scene of the incident. Nyankrofo kan kwa mene say if na we see no we then narrated to say now. I don't know me condemn no. say ye kwe anim no yensua de amfirim me patcho na oka no
yes you say uni
etika say obi na ka kire me anka by now ye nyina ye ho so
yes
so that must be placed on record. Persons who were involved in the incident have avoided speaking with the task force, while Muhammad Ali and others who were in the Mahindra pickup truck and fired shots from their vehicle have also avoided speaking with the task force. But the question is, Kwam, I don't know who say Omuna net Mahindra we no shoot they gave fire arms.
No, says Sina Obia nim say a banner election did the election now.
Yeah.
And it's for tell you we
Mahindra and they say NDC
yes,
car. Was that Thomas kind of cry also?
Yes, so this kind of cast.
Yeah. That is not make say report or say Muhammad Ali and others who were in the Mahindra pickup truck and fired shots from their vehicle have also avoided. Now I'm saying now why they who say I'm gonna fire shot no because in the first place in the report and they say now Phyllis no deny so no muntakwa no ni hwana no
debre
eti no omo ye de hunu say san microphone na fire because also microphone na money omo kokasa nyina have avoided speaking to you and I'm saying say hunu na making I don't know if I'm making sense.
Oh yeah.
Now call you no mo so kan sa asem. Mo so mushia no we deny. Okay, enti we deny.
No, see now can say we deny now see.
Or see he has denied say na or honum.
Yes sir. Oni ho.
It's no oni ho. That's what I'm saying. Enti well here so according to na call you no oni ho. Enti no kan back no may mfa nya adwuma. Right? And I must say enkrofo no na e wo ho beti mama mo evidence no. Omo nyina avoid speaking to you.
But see now only bibi.
But mo ye den na mo hunu say
bibi.
Yes.
I remember the day of election, say unze ye cover election. So BBC ewo one constituency here. When you call a reporter, but wait, let's sound a caution to Kaswa journalists for a winner. I remember here.
Okay, Kwame Kasagu Mike.
I remember say senior.
Yes.
Most radio stations, TV stations,
yes,
from reporters. And
they confirm
me say BBC.
Like I say, journalists for now boom because
senior,
we are journalists. Now for reporters.
I called our reporter.
I don't say that.
I see BBC. He's even send videos and soldiers the police for
no, and only a different. I'm talking about. So no dey see.
Yes.
But whether or not now call you, who is at the center of attraction? Is what we are talking about.
Man, most journalists from Kaswa.
Hey, to say Pink FM.
City.
Pink.
Pink. Omo
Pink FM money Kaswa baby.
Oh, okay. Omo efa.
Stations better all Kaswa.
Minim station konti.
Oh, Mercy Cream owner no. Ni radio TV station is say. And Pink FM no. And ITV.
Sina.
ITV so Kaswa.
Senior team. City FM.
City 4.
TV3.
Almost a day.
And like almost all the media has a one cry.
No more confirm me.
And now our rep ewo Kaswa ho.
Very well.
And no more now confirm me say Bibi Akoso. I remember. Say we called our reporter.
Oh, missing issues no.
Oh, be missing issues.
No, you are missing the issues. Say 2 issues now what they are bound.
No, say they are saying they are saying Bibi say ni ho.
There be. Now call your one kase bibi sensi. Media stations na bo mu dey no. Ankase bibi sensi.
So omo say BBC. Omo je to say BBC.
Whether or not to say na call was there. It's now the matter. Any bone of contention.
Na call was there
or not. It's now call
any issue no.
Any issue.
It's any issue.
Issue.
Any issue.
And I mention say issue. Nipa ku na wawu no. Mo me yen kwankwa hwe ni oku no. We issue.
Because see na on kan we at the last
part. We. Issue ni say can for attach to America. Mo fa ne mra krom ha. Any issue. We say men kan last paragraph.
No, sir. The
late Yusuf Larry Idris died from a gunshot. And you see no gunshot no ye hwe ne or two ye, right? And those who were in the Mahindra pickup with him know what happened. The driver of the Mahindra has been traced. Okay. And further investigations are ongoing. The task force will continue with the investigations.
Sina, so not just say investigation and kaza in
now we had betu jayde.
No. Oh, say
Say saying.
A first part.
First day.
So what you say?
Masa.
Abrante or your Kaswa reporter. On the day of election, we called him.
And I think I might have wrong information.
And what's not Kaswa watching?
And I think Kaswa who you cannot be giving us such report.
On the day of election. On the day of election,
maybe we had them is our report.
On the day of election, on the day of election, on the day of election, yes, we got there were two reporters. Ewo Kaswa, Samalado, and Apia, Abrante Otimini. And you can't tell me say reporters say what Kaswa now.
You had it wrong.
You had it wrong. No money.
Hey, are you throwing that question to me?
What am I here reporting? I report an answer.
So, Sina, my member me with me so I don't know if
maybe you want to
because number say you share election with a statistics.
No person can the mammy no. Hold on, my Kwame fam and no mammy.
Me phone then call
because near Casse, how come say no? No, are you unpopular that?
Yes, no,
you fast statistics.
Yes, 2016 election. Ebe my fair idea. Result no on show
my 2016 I was so east. Hey, what is saying?
We
east. Yeah. Okay, yeah, they are two. It will hear a hand on one. Meaning some camera and I want
no wabos.
We talk about Facebook and join it. Maybe Sawa Kumsin in 2016. Are you sure we are 2016?
Oh no, yeah.
In 2016, MPP in your 34,856. And in case you're joining, Nientia, you are pulling the statistics and say, you have prove it whether or not how a Kumsin, not already, she was becoming unpopular. And 20 million fans, she said, lose, no one lose who in a head. It's not how a Kumsin, my cast as and could be winning or what, or by report. To trust someone, not all your
yes.
So, over 2016, and maybe how a Kumsin, MPP, 34,856, when you are 58.22% Kwame.
Yeah, no, 58%.
No, Adams, out Drama NDC, and you are 24,373 votes. And we have 40.71%.
40.
It will be Ankai here how a Kumsinya in 2016.
How are you 58?
And to the Kahawa, 58%.
58%.
Yes.
And NDC, no,
and
40%. And 40%.
Nana Prakuapia, then the union.
Oh, no, let's compare both
of them.
And count.
Ima, for 2020. To be they say yeah, Kai here how in 2016.
So, Sina, how are you
58.22.
And NDC in
40.71.
Sure.
By 2020.
Yanko 2020.
Okay, in October 2020, how come Sinana sound contest here?
Yes.
This time, no, we have 57,114. Now, percentage wise, no, a suit from 58%
Ever saying
to 52.
52?
Yes, 0.55%.
Let's get it straight.
Yes, a suit
from 58
to 52.
To 52. From 58% to 52.
To 52. How I come see?
That's how I come see.
NBC.
Senior court house. Senior. Why a Kaswa reporter? Why you tomorrow radio station?
I'm not only I'm a Kaswa senior journalist.
Senior journalist. Interestingly, that was the first time Phyllis Nakoyo was being introduced.
That's 2020.
Over Kaya 2016. No, Yannick Yanka send this in 40,000. 40%.
40%.
This time. Phyllis Nakoyo in 2020, Ebenya 51,561, representing 47.45%.
Hey,
so from 40%
from
NDC to 47.
Clearly, you are the No.
This is statistics.
Now, the godmother of Kaswa.
God, dear mother, why?
Because Akumsi no anya she work Kaswa.
How I ramble.
Akumsi no biawo. Akumsi young popular. No, I didn't the kind of say, Mamma no boat. Slow down.
No, mamma, it's more than by some
senior journalist. Slow down. My 2020 back in the day.
2024.
Now, facts don't carry now, or you're unpopular. Facts in your go.
You don't work a factor.
Oh, sure.
Senior man 2024
election.
Fatwa. My 2024. Miss Robert ma joining field no na also watch Ebenezer Mokhtar is here. We're joining Musa Yusuf, Musa Abatwa, thanks. Maria Adams is also here. Saniko say thank you.
Or say ya Festus, Bibi Abako there. Very well. Robert Azu, and so Abba, Jonas Andy Asamo Ado, Philip Kwabreka, Sam Serenity McCarthy. Now, my banner, my now, Kwame, this is 2024.
2024 election.
The last election.
Yes.
So, near kindly say,
Sina,
run us through that statistic.
Okay, so now quickly, in 2016, MPP how Kumsin.
Okay.
Enya 58%.
58%.
Then NDC parliamentary candidate. Enya 40%.
Okay.
Now in 2020. How Kumsin Enya 52.
It was free from my
head. Free 58. Eba 52%. And now Koyo Enya 47%.
From 40%.
From 40 to 47%.
So whilst now Koyo added 7%.
While the NDC.
Okay. Whilst the NDC added 7% vote, no.
Yeah.
A year or no how by 7%.
Yes,
very well.
Now, so into my 2024 election.
In 2024, no, the same Felix Nakoyo, and maybe Sawa comes in a contest. Yeah, two abani we no. Now Felix Nakoyo, I move to 50,886 votes, representing 52.72%. 52. So Nakoyo nya 52. Yes, percent. Anna maybe Sawa comes in, enya 45,638 votes. Representing 47.28%. 47% in NDC in 2020. Yes. So from 52. Yes. Oh, the say from 58. From 58. 2016. Yes. Added the PIM 52. 2024. Yes. About 47. It's a no percentage out here. 58. About 47.
Come on, check here.
Oh,
senior journalist all into analyze it.
47 free. I'm 58 where say.
But Nana figures about one checking my percentage.
Now see also we senior journalist. Okay, so hold on. But Nana
Charlie, now call your case in your case.
In your case,
you're close to docket.
Yes, you're close to docket. Now, you're close to docket. Now, your press conference. And that's why I forget to press conference. And your press conference because you're cool, me pano. No, now call your press conference and yet because you're close to docket. Say.
Oh, yeah, Caswa senior general.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Been nature for a Caswa, changing like
acting journalist.
Because on a normal, a resident from that place.
I'm on my report.
You forget about that report.
No. Can you forget? Easy. Okay, I said 2024 election. Let's do the election. We report on violence basis workers.
Also Obekaya. Who some media houses bebre na Kwame. Who be some media houses bebre na. Asemi ba ye. Your media house ba ku mienu bi a omo ho na videos ni audios ni na free a eba. A omo ko interview MPC obi ya attack obi a ise but patro mama me floor na nka. Ko kaka. Yeah. Emso maka bebre but Kwame me de me interested in saying how well lusu dada and I say bibi etesa. You know we are still on the course here bwa mama mpanyini a reset o man no resetting agenda no eno an egusu ekoso but yen kantre na akoyo on na emu mienu moti amu ye say mo close docket no only one na close docket be na mo close ya
close
when na konto we say to me be na wo
opa ko bi oni
in what capacity and na wo say close docket
apia opa docket
because now
opa docket no who can use and be
no problem but you see let's be fair to the woman. That is Felix Nakoyo. You fair to her. You see, baby, otu me no netia na metia na tia. E ne ye ka say. And nema bi a enkoyie e wa memu we mu no. Yenka.
Yes.
And nema ni bi. E betumi a high ndisi amonyoko.
Anyway.
Na affect ka so akonya no. E ne na Nakoyo koye kire committee. Eti untumi no producer me try ka say mo close your docket mama me no ma press conference o me press conference ne e won there mo me press conference.
So let's give you for further and better particulars. Say na one join here earlier.
Sure.
I think say I establish what I say so we a parliamentary candidate, we MP, we a presidential aspirant. Man can be a back na go come for.
Good.
You condemn me.
So
we condemn.
And why shouldn't she come out and explain to the constituents?
No, we even said say if she's coming out, we suggest that she should apologize. And I come here.
Sure, okay.
Oh, Maka.
Okay.
No, yeah, shouldn't say.
asa no ho abehia say nipa no a yakunu no who said bibia no ye wo integral and peripheral
sure
e come here kwese duane man no na ye ka ho asem but duane because obi ensurumu obi de share na
mo ehona
yes that's what I'm saying
ehona 7 no wo say ya to abawie ya bo obi to akuno ya de aba ya story say MP convoy and this one ya bo to na ka obi no obi wuye and na MP no ya ti committee and a committee say bra be kire won se mu kire say yes ya attack o convoy no kure o ma na say no kure nim now MP ne say ya attack ni convoy it means say say won kure won say na no to o say ya dwe wo mienu ni ebusa nsem say ya mposo obi wi na nipa kro na mu wen mu me hu
oh so I'm confirming
wen
oh Samunta, honorable Mutaka. Oh, let me read it again.
Is make us say it's a whole contradictions room because when the honorable MP say no ya attacking the convoy sa convoy ya musu na reporters say and now some obi ye body to okun.
So the point is that whether or not her convoy was attacked this time one me who say no no kura e bia no ni
hono
and since the fact to say obi we
wen
oh I'm saying honorable Mutaka de buy
and make us Mutaka report no so contradictions be wom they should come clear.
Okay, Mutaka dem so
contradiction. Oh yes, Mutaka should come clear. How? Because reporter e course wo nyina no. Na say now call your enam kwan so kovie.
Okay.
Enna ne convoy. Ya attack here. Now na dey say da ho baby ah. O ye interviews we grant interviews we including on the Captain Smart and grant.
Yeah.
Okay. Say anything no kra na ya bo bi to amani pa kra na e dey. Wa firim.
Yeah.
One thing was our cast asem no. It is said ne obeka kire say the convoy ni attack ya. Na ni nipa no wu no wen.
Na me kire say. Ensem no e wa fafa. Afa bi ni say so na akoyo no honum ana de kudi ni si ana no ni ho. Em na ni di kan ya e bia committee ni ko wiem. E na ni di kan committee ni ko wiem. Number 2 e yampa se obi wi ana obi emu. And maybe number 3. Why need this
good.
Me sure say these are 3 things that you be finding out. At the end of the day, now call your no or no can say na or hobby no. According to Muntaka report, we deny.
Yeah.
It we can only condemn her. Say mami, unim say na semenya no kra. We ye dan be kan. But na me person me say my emfa no me fore adekodine no hiankasa because
ede na hu hiankasa na
oni pa ko na wawu no because senior ohwe komo na ekoso no a me na ye na akoyo kan na akoyanka na akoye di ntro na akoye di no edi no kure meanwhile obi ewu a etwa say one more ekunu no we bring them to the book. I am saying as a country our focus should be getting on the pakuna
what dear wono good.
It is more important
and now enkofo na omugina good position na komo ma ahobambo fo aye hwehwemu investigations the NDC and the honorable MP for Kaswa now call you because mona na edama no amuka say obi attack eni nya yesi efi hawa camp say efi hawa camp na yate committee committee na yete no is excellency John Dramani Mahama nim de ne nyansam see a research o mighty election related violence ya hwema ne nkokwa ya hwe ne nyehwemu o te se Muntaka aka say omo afa involved ni na ya from ne buso omo be so ombe feed with information eti why na afa ni nkofo o ka so abusafo na ya bom tu
it's no crana be bisa question because okay report na kwa me de ma me kan na even though say report the chance nkofo e san ke bi adanse ana yenyom na yibi so mo
ya hwemo
no yet they still establish say some people fired shots. So how were they able to know?
Some
people did say that shots were fired when na call you deny said she was there when Nkrofo say investigate no me nyina so mo nkasa o mo nyasa information
that is one no problem one
say I raise that issue here
anything na me
information
anything na me na anything na me busa say ewo ni mpo na ye kan ho asem a Muntaka be kan ho asem no ya tumi establishing the year say ampa so me say no obenti wo firifie wem ABC ewu ya sada we ye kosie no have you asked ourselves ya bu say ya ho sa asem no because convoy no anam so nti a say ya attack ma branche ba ku wi no ene nipa kro no a convoy ne so team no a wono grant interview ene santwofo bon komo esu ye nyina no wono aba bontia bedi nine nana ne me ka nyina ne say koba na sa no a na wo ya ma sebe o grassroots fo ani magu ase tu
aye hwan
na koyo
zeden wa ya man grassroots
na wo ya jandam eti say fan say nte sakwa politics is full of everything ya jandam eti say fan say ahihye aduma
kum simpo a woni pepper spray kura call electoral commission
it's a different issue. It's a different issue altogether. Now, how one can also say
which one is more serious? So be the pepper spray. Ako baby e to ama. No you say you fa pepper spray ko.
Any ni obi ya money tuo. No obi tell baby akase ya money tuo. Betumi e ginger party boys. No my nyama oni kwaso.
Why me can say asem no.
Nana, let's be serious for once. Nyama ni do one ma akoso anye.
My yanka wa ha no say. Ni enye no ya condemn. Ya condemn say enye se oka asem a enim.
Yes.
Ana masia kato aso say. Ma me so woni e be kasa krampo a media nka me hu ye no pagana fo chewo na asem fo na asem da. Na emumu the bone of the matter Ghana for a pia oka ho a eye me ya ne say asem pote no a esi ye no honorable mu a confirm say no kure obi toy. It adding to the concentration even though you be bastardize ma me no your concentration no enko say why na ku no
good you have a good point
so ni pa ku no we no o me no abusua mu nke be kasa different
ho na me
wa hwe kra ka ya twen kra
na ho na ya me ya na ho na ya me ya say ya de asem we asem we ya kan me ya be gina ho say me kra me car na me convoy no ya attack na say ya attack a nipa no a wo free na na ya say o convoy nim na no odi a wo free mu no eye de no wo free mu oba sa na je say busuafo so me di ya say ampa so obi ewu ampa abusuafo be di ya.
And another question is say adentina omo so me eyewitnesses obi asa on kasa
mo it raises a lot of entina bi no credibility say and the yen central for the be o ka so amemeka ho no on election day your report say ya bo obi to ni adan ne so agenda jandam
on report dey e say friend na
ebi no ye nuanu bi report no nye
na ye dey friend na
President John Dramani Mahama Adare say yenhwehwem na omo a edi sika bia no yemfa womumra emramidin edna no to that in case you just joining me yencha commander Buham Kwabena Bobie Ansah baby commander wo bia na kwam enkrofo yi omedi abropa o me say Ghana any serious country and sometimes I na journalist na me ya na blame ya me blame ya because I don't say fair you said they was so neutral you see. Journalists can na politicians nyombeye normal from wedi you know because when him say wo nka usuru so beka so MPP wo NDC anti wo ya no attack wo NDC no attack wo MPP wo no akwa no to masa me NDC atade no mahye wo kase me MP me wo Accra100.5FM ne yesi me MPP ni oh yes we dey go and find out so time me fire Mahama yesi me MPP ni me say yesi me NDC ni anyways me to ma jo Mahama de adwuma omo ye nso 2028 mesi ato mom me journalism no me ye no me sin so man sa na my hambo problem na wait man no go to pekure to free Ghana your case because I feel say as journalist it can say add ye wait to no kore sister ni adwuma hama mo ye adwuma na me to na MPP for because adwuma hama bon onye etina me ye journalist inti me say me kwaka because me NDC ni no kore adwuma hama nye adwuma what are you talking about papa ne ye adwuma o ye adwuma e kan kore o ye adwuma. Say the same way ana journalist for bebre kan no too ma na kufa no raba me amamuo o di Ghana sika basa and I know said the kind of promise John Dramani Mahama made to the good people of this country those perpetrators will brought to book me dana me kind Mr. President me say in the end Rose na wo ye no we will not remember it that much. economy now was no a kama. We may not remember it that much. And yama now di go akwanso say see the able dollar no and no sunya bad. We may not remember it that much. What, Mr. President, will remember and will be the greater yardstick of measure for your reign is how many thieves went behind bars. How many thieves were incarcerated? How many thieves were imprisoned? That Ghanaians will remember. Because, Mr. President, don't want to about because, hey, me say, ya chia kronfo tum, na ya mama wan see the crime, ni beje say, ya be me chief of staff, na yanchu obi antu. I'm telling you, Accra100 must go to jail. Most of them are candidates for jail. Obetiso ura mwakwa tane na mhobi ankahe mwakwa wonu di ni tumi from one useless cabinet meeting by ya wasan was if in nekro yanji roto bim as what without parliamentary approval na ye hweno as a member ye hweno are we serious? By now he should be answering questions and Mwakwata should be answering questions. Do you know how much we have lost as a country? Kwame hweno mde sika ye and ultimately $60 million say who can renovate one after the other. And where African Games in common able. Phase 1 of the rehabilitation of the Sunyani Airport. Let's start one after the. Let me start from here. Construction of 750 mm diameter concrete U-drain on Gosu Accra Road. And number cost 297,000 cedis. Hey, Kwame, at the forefront of our make I know. Bacho, but here, I'm not sure that this does not fit, Bacho. But let's start from the $60 million, sir. Say, the Akusi, University of Ghana, sir, for hostel. Mimi colleague on ti, minim hoye pa. Say Elizabeth, say ho ne kwapon ho ne all those horn. Now, Kobe sa say no cre $1 million as at their time one. Now dollar yes 16 cedis. So o calculate $1 million na unya tete no unya sen tete na unya sen. Oh, I'm asking. So now unya base 116 billion old cedis. $1 million time na dollar is 16. 116 billion old Ghana cedis. Mako 16. And you see the cost sir for hustle. Are we joking? Na condition back here to saying. Come, Flamino the crampo is na san crampo akosro no wanya 4,000 Ghana cedis. Ade bia kese air con u dey for 10,000 air condition for 15,000 Ghana cedis. Air condition you saying. Musi ese ono mo san tax foforo because minim say kwapon Elizabeth say ni na University of Ghana ya proper tax ni ade. Proper tax system ni ade. It is $16,066,961. Momo say, but they acquire this renovation of, I mean, like how? African Games Village, $60 million. Hey! Now, radio, I'm here upgrading of 4 hotels. I don't know, cost say $12,663,000. You upgrading hotels, who? Hey, I don't grab hostel, Kwame. Upgrading of 4 hostels, $12,663,166. Upgrade near then. What do you mean by upgrading hostel? Say hostel no, yes, no foundation level and length on atwaso. Because hostels no need I view. Kwame unkole gonda. Elizabeth say ne kwapon. Eti ebia no make say window bi na say you. Sense we be air condition on be fix because a honor no ebia na fix air condition. Say lighting system ye and attach baby na yi na e no na ye $12 million. Kwame 116 billion. Mako 12. Hey. Kwame ha temporary cafeteria. Cafeteria ubelego oti cafeteria chese ho na yedidie. Cafeteria baby yedidie no. 1 minute tisika no. $1 million. $107,698.50. Eti baby a ye kwadi die keke no. Kwame ye tisika no about 100 billion.
MPP.
100 billion.
Chama, oh yeah, sure.
Kwame, now when I'm trying renovation of Accra 2023 African Games. I don't know. I wait temporary cafeteria. So we bring a permanent.
Baby, you could did keke.
Temporary.
Omo mutu mi ka omo we we.
Baby, omo nyina ba kodi.
Baby, omo na ko di
no. Temporary no. We
ombedi anwa mo ne.
Dobe ne you know.
Keke no.
Eba ne you know. $1 million.
This all African game.
$1 million.
Scandal. So bien demu pa.
Kwame be dem. Kwame he fencing.
Fencing keke no.
Fencing you say. Eno no kran so nya see proper wall.
Yeah, fencing.
And only $283,000.
That's kind. It's here for say what they are to.
Me ma to Facebook. Enti ba to betimi aba be Facebook. Na obi aka say nye. Brabe. Kwame he bia ye fencing no. 283. Kwame ade no ese calculate ni. O ka dollars na na eketo abi.
No, say we no winning ina no enye cedi so.
Me ba to ne can be sika bia be mo bia times no by 16 because that time no na is 16 to yeah. It's 283,000 times 16.
Na sina dey mo wa pa na air condition. General conditions. No. Where?
There be a no.
No.
Aye. Ebia generally send a hono motie. I send the
general conditions.
And also $1 million. I know the Kwame. Me share that who are the
general conditions.
I'll not be able to comment on that one.
Now design service ne.
I say ye logo nesa ne ma.
The design service no.
Almost sound so at the poster bobo ho. And design ho come. I don't know. Oh, Kwame send there $444,000 back. $444,000.
See now, shut up, no.
The way.
Shut up.
Injuries. Injuries to persons and property, as well as insurance. Kwame no dey enye say insurance.
See now, insurance when says ke e call kenu frata hono. Over kone call kenu frata.
Obi agase ko.
Na all the insurance when
so what say bia enterprise insurance.
Yes.
Oh, I know the way you.
That's na kenu frata.
Na kenu frata. What
na my SIC egu.
Oh, that's enye egu ye.
But with the kind of vision now.
Yeah.
James Ajeni Boateng won.
Fantastic man. James Ajeni Boateng. What
ma SIC
How my friend say? James Ajeni Boateng. What a fantastic man. Encha bra James. Obojuma hopa. Na.
Where meetings no the over boss no operations.
Ansah no. Kwame we a temporary lighting.
Masa wapa. Temporary water.
Oh, remember?
No.
Kwame we lighting and power for works. Lights near to
Bob
no you changing $30,000. There was a Fabra never to Kwame yet is a Bob na ye kotono. And no say Ghana Bob na kotono.
Temporary bobs nge no
$30,000 Kwame. There to one more. Akronfo nam krum ha no Kwame.
Temporary bobs. Temporary water ne.
Temporary water for the works.
Just say no.
Oh, say so. Enso be use for the
like
diaspora investor of Ghana there.
Yes, diaspora hostel.
The omudi jare.
Yes, enso na omudi ye ombe adwuma we ade nyina ono.
Enso
hostel.
Yeah.
Na Ghana water na supply
enso be twa Ghana water.
Wait.
Na Ghana water say be free.
Na Ghana water a whole year.
Oh.
A whole year. Omudi bill brewa. $24,000 per Ghana water a whole year. No bill $24,000
multiplied by 6.
Kwame mama kan dey we ma.
Na see na share internet na o mama.
Hey. Kwame we dey calculate we mama. Fa calculate ambacho. We senior about 40,000 times.
When na why PhD
about 40,000 times 16.
Temporary internet service.
40,000 times 16.
Times 16.
And they my internet. But African Games they how many weeks?
From 8 to 24 too.
It will be for 1 month.
1 month can do
3 weeks.
Internet
internet. 3 weeks no more.
From 8 to 24.
From 8 to 24 from 3 weeks no. Internet omo use here for the games. Ghana Sikano 640,000 cities. Sika na say 6.4 billion. 3 weeks no 6.4 billion the internet. Hey, internet will be Brazil Ghana web Google. Na wasani video.
No, say maybe no. Unse sports no. Yes, sports ah. Almost fan live. I did be a fan live there. In ya, either you use Starlink, you either say fiber optics, such as so internet today. But they can't tell me.
You to know, say Starlink no use ya. They will come with their charge.
Oh no, but Starlink too is very expensive. Mind you, Starlink is very expensive.
Let them say they will come to say be our family Starlink. I will charge you. And come back to the Starlink. Where different, where separate. Kwame. Starlink.
No. Men can say that's just Starlink, but because say internet today. But
my main can't do it. The Minister of Youth.
But see, don't make me truly down. Nyama baby koso.
Na make can.
They make a no. But can we? Can you have
them? Man, can we? The Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Yusuf, former minister, has confirmed that the government has spent $195 million on infrastructure. Maybe I talk about 195 million times 16.
They be the phone.
In calculation because of the dollar. $195 million. 195 million times 16 times 16.
And I'm telling you.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hey, that be where 3.12 billion Ghana cedis. Ha! 3.12 billion Ghana cedis.
That's the total cost.
That our billion in your statistics, you know. Where Cecia.
What one there?
Pay. Kwame, every year infrastructure. Out of which 145 million was invested in the construction of Botima Sports Center. Now Botima Sports Center, no, $145 million. Hey, okay, $34 million. You directly call Eco Renovate University of Ghana Stadium.
Yes.
Renovation. Now stadium, like I say, yes, I say.
No, to wash your water heaters, no.
Down. And $60 million. And I'm the refurbishing of the game village at Nigon. What's it doing?
Water heaters.
Kind of money.
I mean the phone number.
Jina kind money.
No. Other one.
Other one. Yes. Hey, my man, go down. What is Jina kind? God. Charlie. Na enti we mu bana mo sa na 2028 aba na e be choma kum.
No. Here. Nana here we so. The aba we ni mo.
Hey, where your plumbing work o?
Plumbing work.
There be mechanical account. Mechanical plumbing work.
Na botre. Your furniture works, roof repair, external work, plumbing and
mechanical.
Yeah. It's Bobo no one my one.
It's mechanical. Now mechanical meaning what went into mechanical.
Oh, say maybe future obi car. Say obi car obo hon na hon ma. Na ya fix it. Obi tail lights.
But say African girls when you fix obi a car hon.
Obi a spark in the car na chamena and so. Tina ya
but it's not part of our job.
No. Sina. Now we mechanical work na dey.
Okay, ntia fan say no.
Chamen obi wa Obi wa ospake car na enje so na say you go for fitani they tram wa under transportation
say nya o person mechanic
no ayalolo dey
ana me try say o ti me try
when ye mechanical fault
ana me try ayalolo anyi bi
thought ya say
ayalolo say na bi ye nya sa
nti we no obo hon na ema na ya eno ye say na plumbing works
and we get $4.7 million.
Yes, Sina Obekaya swimming can we know. Inti abi so there. Eye no mo me plumbing works na so just say. World standard
me call school. University of Ghana swimming pool a world standard already.
So we need to get
Yes,
so we need to get professional plumbers
to do what?
To come in inspect it.
Standard.
Say
University of Ghana.
Standard that. How the international?
It is that. It is
standard.
See that. And me na man ko me tia mo chance. It is an kom ko fa.
Na so wan ko.
Kom ko fa plumbers. Embeti $4.798 million.
Otumi kasa min kan.
Yeah, obi bra ho ba.
Roofing repair. Hey.
Say on be so me say e dan so baby apa ana baby nyum.
Yes.
Yeah, the $423,000.
And I said the woman is a hostess and your hostess I abandoned hostess.
Dabi.
A hostess and a school for them.
That's pra horse.
No,
Yes.
maybe
Alexander Kwapon,
Yeah.
Elizabeth say
Massa. Let's
otherwise
Yes.
Isota honyu.
it's a whole new year $423,000.
It's so
and
that
fix
whole
baby
new-
whole new.
Isota honyu. And you sue professional roofing.
Yeah.
No, you can't tell me say
Kwame, mama boy Facebook. Hey,
no.
And at the way, you know, say revelations we know. Who is a first state a year at your request?
Yes.
No money as information.
And when
Yes.
pull it
You
back.
say an additional 143,000. 360 Ghana cedis was spent on the installation of water heaters.
water heaters.
No, Otu Mebo.
What they be hitting so?
The heaters you who call water another go fit almost many 143,360 Ghana cedis.
Nana.
There's a water heaters in there. They good for the journey with you be there.
David. Nana Mebo. Apart from water now, yeah, the mama and no it's about $40,000.
Yes.
And a plumbing works so $4,000 something.
The patrol
And what the-
4 million.
4 million. And now water heater so you're saying let's just say in some kwano
Esunkwa.
a promise for your money. Me fix water heater so your money.
Dabi na kwa me say no dia kan kwa so ano. We hear dia san kufu we nyina because program say bakrom a adwuma bakrom. What I say ana me ka say. Okay, we more me confident.
But Sina,
we are the chena na ache no.
President John Dramani Mama, ade a why say you investigating we know the right direction.
Kwa me mane fa fam nyo no sukura.
Yes.
Senior. Five.
Yes.
No. Are you warning now?
I ene fato so man.
Yes.
Fato so man. Wow. Me bato afa no adwene ye hwe African Games 13th edition no. President said yeah in confirm. Ohia internal and external ceilings. Kwame, ceilings o.
We
internal
no,
ceiling.
it we no use professional ceiling we.
Now Kwame, when I use professional,
No,
professional.
Masa, here
Asama na aka.
another
Professionals
government.
they use they have.
No, another government. No, ade bi oyi dia oya. Oya de kama.
These are tips akron for then professional.
Internal external
They
ceiling.
use professional.
No, ye dia no, ye dia no professional.
Yeah, they are agongo.
Enti sanka.
Agongo. Also where you in
What's Odi da ku pese ibe. Senior. Senior na internal and external ceiling no. Amount in the same.
Oh, now technical school. That day.
Now then the ning na no charging in dollars.
That is.
But let's thank the Bank of Ghana. Also say and we should price things in cities. Okay, that is just.
But wait, waterproof in this way.
Master, you need $337,000. So you need to be madam.
Hey!
Internal and external ceilings. Na den.
Oh, say it.
I'm about 330. Mami, I have to
See, Nana T. Games on
Yes,
Kobo.
it is not a month from but yeah.
Games on Koye.
dollars there.
Games on Koye. Maybe I'm about table tennis.
Ceiling no man.
You say, share, I did with oh, now you say you're free define.
Oh no,
Because your telephone, why a week Accra. One baby on table tennis, baby on volley, Nissa, we say almost ceiling. Nanauti.
Mahu.
Sa
Batman cheers.
your hair, sa win long ceiling.
Then $337,000.
So they say no honum. And
Okay. Now come waterproofing.
waterproofing. No. And they're saying, Bosso,
I need $253,000.
share, I do one more.
Waterproofing idea way no. Say in so you MFU like omo ceiling na. And anya no waterproofing.
No.
Sina, I do one more.
Doing.
Third one.
Omo
Third one, Bosso. Where am I?
covering of open drains. Now they go drains.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Co-invest of Ghana. Drains
Oh, no. Sina,
na me open here.
enye le gonpa no mo ye we no. Enye le gonpa no mo ye.
Botema na a new place I will see.
Botema
If you hear them cover drains. And what you
A new place.
What
So
you
you
discard
construct the drains from
Drains.
day one.
It will cover them.
From nonsense.
Where do be discount?
253,000. Ni nyina obi e
Oh, cover this way.
$253,000 kwame.
Omo cover drains no way.
And then there's $131,000.
And a payment then.
Payment no me any horticulture.
Say no flowers.
Flowers no. $118,000.
Ah, see na no say me got flower.
I say the obo.
Eh, masa. Na dem to flower pot kakra.
TV number. See na, they say okra. Abai bai kwa ba te kra ni me fra butu.
And I say
Hey, me no one you use 55 inches. Kwa me say me ekolo.
Wakra.
You say okwa dem kwa me 3 TVs. Me so me 75 inches. Abai papa.
And I say me no crab mami o. If 75 ni bi.
Hey, Nana,
Horticulture.
na say me got flower we. Flower the boy nya this how.
Come here, Mr. I know there. Don't oversimplify the matter.
Oh, no. Flower. Oh dear.
Big flowers.
No. Oh.
And a small flower.
Oh dear. American embassy here. I want on flowers we want. How now be kasi hoy expensive.
Next one.
But flower ne boy nya thing. 80 cedi, 100 cedi.
Come Pacho.
I'm not lying to you.
So whole flower no nya flower with Pacho. Come
American embassy flowers papa.
Flowers is over from Kwabena. Yeah, flowers are quite
Flowers are expensive.
Pavement, horticulture and landscape, you know. And then
long some before the door in almost do their flowers on chain. And the $189 pay. My next one.
But in a serious.
No, but it's serious. We shouldn't joke about it.
All African games, you see now.
Bobie bisa Ohima Rhino. Was it so? Are they humans? Or into Omi Nipa?
No, the sports minister,
Yusuf. The same person sooner.
National Service
Secretary or something. Ah, mami bua, o man family.
Mami bua akanta.
President Muhammad
no, I don't need none more.
National Service in some years senior said the same person.
Hey, and then you see no.
I don't know if you are here. You see no.
National say the same person.
Hey, and then you see why nyamo.
Why nyamo kruma papa.
Oh, but me sure say if you baby fi.
What me tie wardrobes, drawers, louver blades.
Yes.
Proof netting.
Curtains.
And a replacement of bed sheets and mattresses.
Curtains.
And no quite
$1,880,000.
Everything is priced in dollars.
Kwame, bed and pay bed as well. Bed sheet, wardrobe, I basically drawer, louver blade, no. $1.8 million.
Ghana citizen.
Senior Fako Ghana citizen. So we the
But senior, no credit say all African games. Some buy no more doors.
How many countries nearby?
So we can just times by. Now we know that best now we and also crano. I say in your body to investigate. Best mattress. This how winning now we.
Now I'm not to my hotels and
now only hostels. Hostels.
And I'm saying,
we don't even know the agreement on schools no quiet.
The schools are now saying, say, even in a born air conditioning. Yes. I'm a mother boss left free.
Nana,
they don't even use the air conditioning.
Nana, Udim said the hotels, the hotel association. No. The hotel association. A part club at Cassette. Jediomoka.
Yes,
of course.
Omuntrai.
Yes.
Sika when you actually know.
Yeah. You're right. Yes, almost said.
About the cassette, Jediomoka.
This kind of way.
Any volunteers, no.
Volunteers,
yes.
That you how we could be. Some will be this kind we not volunteers.
Yes, no, 500 Ghana.
Then what do you? I can't fool you now.
Me, Sina. Otuso him say we are professional journalists. Then we will not say MPP Engu. But I wish
you go NDC
for the next 20 to 30 years. MPP home.
Oh, but you see, Ghana
because MPP sabab power be one. But no me say Dino. No, and that's same. But no me di.
I think there's a Ghana sound to Obama MPP. Ni ombe kan so sound pa Jimmy. Because near the yam wage na. At least even if it's a better MPP, like yam punish from kakra. If 20 years could have fine. Omoba, I'm sure say they will not do the mistakes again. But say yes, you are to MPP. I'm not saying the name Ansah.
Yeah.
Oh, Italy, me your calculation where you free. But she said the calculation but
see that we need to also know baby a bed sheet no.
It's important.
Any mattress.
Legitimate question.
Yes.
Something I say.
You are right. Question. You are right.
All those bed sheets no.
Legitimate question.
And say you find out e we fa. So what just say?
A legitimate question. Okay, my calculator no. Into 1,888,572. But also for calculator times Saturn $1 is 16. Kwame. 31 million cedis. 36 ano. 310 billion. And on the top bed sheets. Any wardrobe, any drawers, any louver. That be any louver blades. 310 billion. There be you. No maya a Jimmy almost some domus when Ansah. So my win for your decided will be the one. Or my on your shoe no nim Ansah. Ansah wa kwatria man no. You be set what the 310 billion Titsika. Akoto wardrobe. Drawer will be the key be louver blades. A mattress on bed that's only bed sheet, make curtains. Idea is must say tempera. So Kwame, the question you ask, we should not only ask of beds in a way. Yes, I mean some who say bed sheets in a way. You mean some say curtains in a way. And I go to say, oh, drawers no, I go so why no matter what you. Air condition, no matter motherboard. I know the things they be invested because say students need use air conditioner. Already no scanner at the school no could mad that. And you know, my school for no use air conditioner, the university will collapse. The because already so when utility here they go to that. Tell them things say by a registry decision but
senior is serious.
And the bonus was no to tell Kwame. We will add him to the investigation committee to look for our bed sheet. We are very interested in that. No, but it's a very important question you ask. Faustina Amauga, maybe to a message, Brandon, men can also what to feel about the whole thing. Or see, they have to be jailed. Okay, Abraphobia, so no to please check accreditation. It will shock you. Maybe to accreditation.
Yeah, I just open accreditation.
Accreditation, why?
I think it's
accreditation. Yes,
I think it's in the graphic report.
Accreditation.
Accreditation choir say
$4.5 million. Obwa. Oh, you are lying.
A4 sheet on machem 4.
A4 sheet na ya dey
see that A4 sheet on machem 4. Like say A4 sheet.
4.
Uchem 4.
What's say? Master say $4.5 million.
I say communicators they report you
paper na I don't bottom no.
Yes.
Master if I go see them near here. Dollars no me am shut up. But also move share money
but senior
$4.5 million.
45.
Say maybe
Watch it.
4.5 times 16. It is 72 million cedis.
So old old way, you know.
Ghana Sika no.
Yes.
Hey, that be sorry.
What Ghana cedis?
4. Maybe hold on, please. Mr. Moa. And the mass in 4.5. Oh, 5 in me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Okay, so 4.5 million times 16. 72 million cedis.
So what Ghana cedis?
720 billion. And on the year card, it will be cool.
Wow.
Oh, some wonderful. Charlie, all right, well, I'm saying it's in every district.
Yeah. Because when you crumple here, all African games.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
What is 720 billion? At 30% Krufuku. And I make my calculating it. Am I simplifying the matter?
I don't know why, you know.
$4.5 million. But 72 million cedis. 5, 10, 15. 72 million cedis.
That's one total amount we use here for the entire program.
$195 million. And then you know.
And you 260 million. 195 no
any infrastructure no.
Yes, no infrastructure.
What is $260 million?
$260 million
for 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks. Where cap cry we start sending the host.
3 weeks.
For 3 weeks.
Yes, Penny say
$260 million.
Yes, I'm gonna see the man here. Right, mommy. So calculate a bit my calculator.
Which may I calculate?
Maybe my say. But to be so calculating for to Facebook, mommy. 260 million. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 times 16, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Zeros in it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 28 billion.
Yes.
4.16 billion.
So 4.2.
Oh, pay. And we say trillion here.
No matter what, we better the battery.
It's the 4.1 billion cedis.
Lady Hosty.
3 weeks.
3 weeks from on the 8th to 24th of March 2024. Sika Yedi.
David Kwabena force. I wish Reverend JDM is watching this show. Andy Wallace was even printing ballot for 2024 elections was how much? Or no, can't near the printing.
Yes.
No, besides a ballot. Jamila to class prefect say, Nana, I always say this MPPD, never again. Wallahi. No, but Jamie, it's not just saying never again.
People must be held accountable.
Pressure our president
to hold them accountable.
To hold them accountable.
That is it.
And so be a nice man, make I John Mahama every day. Make I chief of staff every day. Make I say don't get here every day. Huh? Make I special officer of the Miguno, Menko. Make I attorney general every day. Said these thieves must be brought to book.
Yeah,
and yes, I Ghana for fire.
Yes, and your man, Ghana for will never forgive us.
Huh? Abam. Anabam.
Abam.
Otidaku Chrome Hanum went to bank carry no yes I.
Otidaku those days information better than Saka.
Wow.
Revelations when you na eba after Senko for now exit power.
Cards keke.
Yes.
I did to you.
Yes.
Senior. Now to mom mama example of card maybe why. Mom pick a card maybe. Na mo fan to her. Hey,
mu yourself volunteers.
I'm not going to give you. Hey, is she hatchet? The man gonna phone you now who's over. Come guys, what we do?
Now on operations.
We are live show. So put this over.
On operations.
Operations say.
Operations say yeah, yeah meeting why you champion football. When you come spend.
I'm spending say
$47.7 million.
Fabre.
$47.7 million.
Dollars. 47.
Yes.
My man, you see this.
Now
dollars anymore.
Sab one of operations. No.
$47.7 million.
For Ghana citizens.
And to start time, when we issue 763 million.
Yes. No more operations. You share where you are. You meeting where you are. And no cake.
763 million today's cities.
Yes. And no more the operations.
Now, no more card media, Charlie. Most card near no credit 4.5 million.
Yes.
You and Pampa.
I say, maybe I'm trying to open that document.
Senior, no credit producer, $4.5 million. The card.
Accreditation.
Tell me an example of the accreditation. For to Facebook, no more here. They could know. You know, because and Nipa never know the door is saying. Oh, the 2,000.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Total no has me.
Hey! Adiola there too sweet. Wait there. $4.5 million.
Accreditation. No.
720 billion old cities. Sad way. Maybe I talk about they are to Facebook. But had there. That's it, Kwame. Where is on the idea, you know, a Juma card, no, not a show be able to know. Staff ID.
Staff ID.
Say where be. Ghana was indeed a crime scene under the past MPP administration. Kwame Appiah Dubai. Mr. President John Mahama. Obianka Meka Wate. With the Meka. Umami appointment. The farmer mama so Meka. Because boys no be a person Meka because of appointment. But my way I'm crash. Economy need more fix it. Yeah, 2 buses here. I'm winning by 2.something million votes. But in the end, Ghanaians are interested in how many will go to jail than even how you fix our economy, sir. This is the truth you need to listen. Can you imagine? Now I'm quite went to manage Muti. Not give you a cost. Chama Dikibi. Honorable. Akwaba.
That's rare. Yeah, what you say?
Jamia do Mutina Wukruma.
No, I have you.
That's the one nabe. Now to one my 4.5 million. Maybe I told mama ya pesi ya ifre so me mamo 1 minute mama he card ko no ya se ya de sas kan ya dia to Facebook se ya I you say 100.5 FM. Mr. Dikibi.
Papa.
Eti na nguti kuruma.
Ya wa ya.
Me da na me ni ha o.
Na o wa hi. Na wo samre na wo kwan.
Na me ni ha.
Na wo tu kwan o.
Na me stop am kra.
Ayo. Eh Nana go for the administration wan o kokana wan ken ya wan hwe ade anchin wo fie.
Me kan bibia say ku ya de a enye. but the Kufa party is one up and so I could be and got me can be there. Ha! Missy Kunya, but say Kusi were Kufa breast one could be like and Ghana for the budget. What kind of nonsense is that? Anything me make can say why a lucky pass a man so jack come to a that make I said it like so many times.
Afcon class casting a host.
How can you
Afcon
press casting a host? Come no better no.
Afcon class casting.
I would do $260 million. What weird? What do Ghana citizens say?
And you cannot pay. And then 4.1 billion.
Well, it was just 3-week what? Sports events. No, I am from on the 8th to 24th.
They also did it. They also did it at the time and had the independent power producers go.
Yes.
They did it
at the time. A man for haircut.
Haircuts. I was scanning chrome. As I'm going to $260 million.
Yes.
I ran a 2 weeks program.
Yes.
Now I'm going to air painting.
Free estate. Among was criminal. Pendi.
But I'm not confirming. I say African Games 2023. Ghana spent $4.5 million on games management system accreditation tax.
Now say, me say, the communicators the documents in now.
But Mohammed Musbahudin Diaba was the food alone was $50 million. Is that true?
Yeah. And no say no issue ba ho to extend say omo mobile na bebre ndi
yes.
Yeah, ba no mo.
Yeah, and no sent be dey atuo yire na oye aduane no. A day, oye for 15 days.
Be dey atuo yire so say was dey aduane contract.
Oye 15 days or $50 million.
Ba me kan wo ya
and now about issue say a day or $1 million Ghana cedis.
And no issue ba ho am for.
Oh yeah, for 15 days. The next time to be there to
you. But you to now
secretary to the president.
President and the Oyari Okokoda
Nisika be actually.
Yes.
Was signed the contract no man.
Now to the kwans same way say assemble ho. So you done for 15 days. 15 days don't be 15 million Ghana cedis. No say.
A day be 1 million.
1 million no say cedis.
100 billion.
Yes.
Every day.
Represent a Ghana ben na wo ye.
Or the
day.
Ponko na mwana.
Oh.
Ponko is any way.
Ponko bona ombodi wo.
Anabunsu. Go
na play omo mobile for game na bebre ko omo MSS no omo.
Yes, no good
because no omo say omo mpe aduane na ye no ano ano.
Na say we aduane po the issue ba 100 dance you games no.
We say this oral must not fail. No. Put pressure on the president to prosecute them. Oh no. Maybe I'm so be a family make I be president. If I say I love him, I must tell him the truth. No. It cannot be praises as usual. Otherwise, we will crash this government. But I give you. Nieti wuni.
Nieti hono no.
Me hu na ache.
Mrs. Sao.
Na, omo de washe baby there.
Hey, come on, omo nya fa yen she baby a o e da ho ne name after.
Ese obi de beba no pa. Obi de beba wi. Obi de beba. Enti so grassroots fo nyina munya matre. Me wa hide money how? Why? Because so campaign for bia benya ba bia hye
eh nana otu
baba
achemu menim so ayira ba be hye ha
oh I said match na manya 4 years ana manya 4 years na dida next month next year match na manya 4 years
menene pre wo ba bi sa
Ansah na ba ha
is that e ba
me be yes CTV Ansah na me
oh why are there
Accra ba me boss ni say do and so I'm scared to check
professional journalist.
I mean, a professional journalist.
I am kakra be ye me nia. I know to ever
to the fast kakra.
Charlie, mama, a discussion on there. Let's set the ball rolling. Young share Phyllis na call you sense no. Na young share 13th African game. I'm just saying few me aba na young call. Yes, I say with some 15 years.
Me near to that call. I'm saying check it here from po. Ntino edi kan na mi fanchie mu odi ma etiefo na mi nchia woni crew na mi mba mabaso for adwuma sna mudi ma my Ghana eni mi senior man na mi ehia ha so mi nchia no na call your issue no. I am reluctant to comment on it because we share and sama muntakadia ba tujana quite damning because before in 70 no during the elections no Madam Nakoyo granted interview. I was stating say she was nearly killed. I mean wo yenim say ye hwe media reportage ba nim say nipa wu wo ho ye boto wo ho ye twika fa nkwaso wo ho. And subsequently sir Abanya set up a committee to investigate what actually transpired on the election day. Na committee ne bopilim no mbisa wo say my information on what transpired on the day. Accra100.5FM. What can be contradictory to your earlier position now? And I'm a party for be Ekasano. Now for me, once I was a press conference, Debiano assembly stay with the other side. Committee no, I'm going to set it up no. I'm going to find this way. We haven't heard from her. It is a son of Kachiro.
We've heard from her through the committee.
Let me say, also I'm
told say what cancel.
What cancel?
I don't know though.
And we need that.
I don't know if
we need that to either come and confirm or deny what the committee has put out, because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. And because of position with them, my state, I am a bit reluctant to condemn her at this stage. But even though Wakasa, but that account does not negate their course on the election day. How Kumsin a two trasam war a Utusenya East no, it is well known. Akoraka ya wunende onim Subeya how Kumsin a dete a Utusenya East war. Then no, yes, I asem we ya Madam na call your akano in a bezon in no, Debbie. Yenim say during the registration process, one of the polling stations or Boto police station.
On what confirming?
A sister station interview no say what prompted the gunshots. When to have any tangible explanation.
Accra100.5FM.
And yeah, there we and I say we are kind of beside higher city. Debbie, even though Waka. If it is true, but the committee must go further to probe, because how comes it? Nyama why je wo no? Obakaya NDC ni ba kwa your friend Tarek. How comes next man tax? E mom ko bono to the extent say ye nua permanent to me and recover from sa ebro no till so there den odi fi mu. Me ni o ka say ye nim nimpa musman no ma den omo musman no yenim say how comes next mom, but the perpetrators of the act no yenchi omo small mom kwabo guy no on went man cover biom yenchi omo ye wa ha nanse na how comes in ekọ police station or the weapon kwa blackman north oko spray pepper spray egu police for ne omo moto abani and you know the conduct of how comes in any to trust my wire war constituency one menewo yenya yenim, and we have various evidence captured on video and tape and you know and yes answer mo ya madam aka na be sanity one now like I said no madam needs to come again say or any explanation be as what the man e be a committee no for now make say be a committee na nti the can see ye. For that, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt to come out and explain to us what really transpired or what he told the committee. Our committee, this is our report now. About Bontino. In the note to be the NBC are saying. Now, me ko second issue no so na.
And my name is free or not.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to give you.
Nana Otu. Where them chiao pa. Because when you know you prepare. Neja ya beti timu.
Juma o no monka.
Juma ya me know ya bro.
Urum say bi mo dwen say anyway high kwa.
Enye nda na be shia o hebi mpa na me nim ba bia wa yere kra ko tena me ka say bia.
Say me a professional journalist.
Oh me amehuni sa. Me amehuni sa papa. Me nu yan so so me ni shia so me chia no pa. Afi me chia so call me penny mama me penny ba ko bia laji ya yakundu. Eja ono na hwandi mu na eja ya de nam kakra.
But transfer na be ram King Farouk as an message. I say how Akumsin didn't send tax to beat Foreign Amadu. She led them herself and commanded them in Hausa language to beat him. Aisha Ahmed does a good job now too. John Akwete also good afternoon family. Bajanko.
Mra me denchi ade amamu nyina mo wie. Asema me ba be kafa Akumsin ne ya MP na akoyo ho asem no. Na akoyo minjimi ndi se ebia wo ka na what they are free Akumsin there be. But MC baby ade ne duru no. On say omu ye investigation no proper way ebia be led to court prosecution na ebia na adwene say omu be hia witness enti no em say nani ehunu direct no em say one person obekwa akoka bibi na ochina ede no ebekwa akogina court.
Can we also say because Uti Honorable Muntakaka or see the so-called witnesses?
Yeah.
Obi Edwane. Could it also be say ACA? But call your nani two so they are not ready
to speak.
Because even your witnesses they can buy them off.
Yes. Entino ena sisi anu baku ewu. Omunya baku ewu ena esi baku nso Ali Mohammed ana wan ono ko outsider. Yeah, kwa treat no. Enti sisi ana kwa ka Mahindra driver no. Ono kwa na emu sisi ano omu investigate no. Enti no minu madwene e wo mi metrimu sisi ana se omunye wie investigation no. Sila omuguson ebia ebeduru baabi no obi beka ebia omu kasa no obi beka kura kwa na honorable na akoyo ama na akoyo so asa abemu biem. And this kind of issues no se one ya careful na se wo kanu anyhow why bedru be na ebeka se bra be yi wanu no ntimi yi. But Akumsin bibie no ebetime yi Akumsin every problem we bibie ni o nyentia bibie ni won say one, excuse me, one obotuo fiscal mo bi ehuni eno no entimi free no so ne entimi free no so ekina ena olidi nipa momoko atake tese se de obi anya atwra basisi ye eno so entimi free Akumsin so ne entimi free no so okina. And yanhwe sese nyinyina akura nsan ko gine ekirempo no yanhwe ne yesi na anu oba Accra100.5FM election by election no oba no the pepper spray the by entino na koyo no one thing about in the life no so no believe in violence.
How Kumsin?
Sorry, Akumsin no ono no believe in violence. Entino nya we na omo kan ye ana nyomo kanu ena betimi amana afrim ana even honorable na akoyo say na woni ho a bibie nu a eno ntina betimi yi na afri ho say na onim asem no hwe enti no no was starting jubilate say asem na honorable mutaka kan ye no yi na afri asem ana obi ase wono no oye ni ntino yanhwa sisi a oboa say ebeyi na afri mo na yi mo afri so otutuo no ya hu ebeyi na afri mo na yi mo afri hu tisi wo ko Accra100.5FM no wankwanko ye pepper spray wankwanko pepper spray wankwanko sha manfo ani ebeyi na afri mo a amanfo no mu wo kasoa na omu hu ye say o lead to attack no na yenye nduru omu nyina so na say afia na omu asha ase mbo honorable Mitaka Minister of Interior kura metima ka say ne press conference no to me no waye ne ntem mpo waye ne ntem too much enkense se wonya abotre emo mu ya ade no kura ko enimu ense na yetimi akasa because ye ni aye akasa sisia no ama wama communicators no yentimi nkasa se de yepe every say wo munya wie fax no ama sisia wo bibi te say Akumsin celebrate say wono no asem na yede to no so no enya na kore because yenya baabia yi baabia yede be so no mu yie nti no esisi ono celebrate nti se duru baabia be so no mu yie a di asem na afi obeka fa no so nti me no
press conference na honorable Mutaka interior minister beye no to me no why an ntem entina nka se wo ma ade no ko animu kakra but honorable former MP awokumsen ontimi yi no mfiri asemwe mu da any violence oyeye entina na otu media no besia na ya to aso biem.
Thank you, Mr. Ndikibi. Raymond Andre Padoshkas. Now Koyo must come to clear the air. If not, her political career is dead on arrival. In politics, trust is everything. If she doesn't know that, she should ask Dr. Bamia. You can't lie your way to power. That's why I even suggested that based on Niamuntaka Kayano, Ghanaians deserve apology. And if I were her, I'll render an unqualified apology.
If that is what she told the committee.
Okay, so no, except to say except to say we don't
because
believe
it could be a misrepresentation. Ebia committee no, ebia man ti bibiase.
MP so enka.
And I make sure say
Mutaka ntimi PM.
No Mutaka dey say enyo no kay
me
investigation.
Abamba so actually say ebia na call your committee na nim.
Do akan no.
Okay ana omedi bia ba. As a minister
and as ebia ntiase bia.
Are you saying say Honorable Muntaka will not engage Koyo before coming?
No. Can't do that because they are all in parliament. Don't forget
at this stage. The Kenya speculation.
Just speculation.
That's why I make say, press conference now but too early, no.
Because for me, now Koyo should speak.
Let me introduce, if like, where was that?
Yes.
Urabu Achichan Jr., National Communications Team member, and this opening Akwaba.
I know to me, sir.
And Chairman Wabuja.
Matia.
Akwaba. But one na no guso how dey see so but obeti me asend no message na onso wo dey aba minia na me ka say
yes
whether or not na call your anye ni and if indeed near Honorable Mutaka kan say na break can it's no representation of fact there and no correct one can she must learn from that but usually politics in the heat of the moment with me can be but we should not be encouraging that.
No,
but maybe the question is say,
yes.
Should we focus on that? And now say, cratch na uwe no. Ni okuno no. And I say we here Ghana for. Nkam ya kwese nkobana kweye na akwayo maamene de say. How about na obi nso ewu. And obi nso afa no wedi. For now.
No to mama ni kan say na wasena me nche me nuan mo madi kin akase na ye nche wati fo bi. On say na akwayo ne Honorable Hawa Kumsi na sema ye kin. I partially side with Minya Penny na Abam. And he say, Semba, you see it ye a friend nina, and send a boo. A boasem, so be boo be more, so be wonderful. I will see a tear for no me nina. And ya ten Sema, Honorable Minister for the Interior Waka. But then press conference no muti Honorable Muntaka. Or can say, investigators no approach be more, or can say, symbol or monka. That must be noted. For instance, in 2020, time election, I say investigation report we have ban about 2020 and 2024 general elections.
That's right.
2020 elections, no. The day before the election was on 6 December 2020. Over to me, I check here some making. General I say don't get here. Sadano seat no before 7th no. No Sampa. In the Bono region, as Adana me wo hobi. As Sampa EC office, nam to kwesi wo ho and people were injured. For report no na hwem kwesi A to Z e wo mu ana. Is it the case say
that was not captured?
That was not captured. So is it the case say na bi mu they are not willing to cooperate with the investigators? Said the Minya Penny Kayana. And clearly, media me jitum say report no about him too much. Nanke was say
a man so amwana manso beka siache.
Say ebe bampo a ho. Anka e was say have a bia incident ni bi happen ya na ebi mu amadu so mon kasa no. Ke say minister ma yehu. Say okay, Sampa yehu say incident ni bi ko but investigators now approach nipa no mo ho no bia so on kasa. Dia hu say Sampa ne mani bi ko but ye ntumi an capture report no. How comes in the air yake? Ye nyina ni so obi ewu. how akumsin ya interview one deny say nya wona oku nipa no gunshot e cause nyina ojutum say wona oye na say ne ye mekasa na e ka say na koyo amu odin wo ho a o say enu nti Yesu Kristo moja ohoro we yenye Hosanna eno na opeso ka kire ekrum ha o na buza how akumsin no say so no ne hu moja na say ne nsa nye moja okọ Blekumanov na no ada by election e course wo ho that was really a real run. Yes. I am for no ne ho ba bia kra no. Or the pepper spray akọ. No obi otumi di pepper spray ko obi ayi ase. Ono na yi ase den no de be call. So obi ko no ntokwa. Na se wa friend no se be boa me. No okura agyan a. So ono ankasa ne ntokwa duru a den no de be call sa ntokwa no. Enti asema ehu ni adanse no. Ye twa enu ahu bi na eden. Ye de adanse. Ye hwɛ nneoma how akumsi na ye in other constituencies. Nobody on this earth, no report can convince me I'm here say how akumsi there was no violence in the constituency wa na ne hu nim. Violence
there was.
Yes.
But whether or not ono na oye me yiku woni ba kono sesi na ye hwɛ.
Ne ono ne hu.
Because na call your no ono no say owo hu bi.
Yes.
Anunti yenya ahodaso nse agidi ye no.
Yeah.
Based on the report, if indeed say a misrepresentation of fact, that's a senate here there. How do you say how I could say
there be? I was say to me tea on also na no asem. And until that, who dey over here? You
some committee na kwaje braba na.
There be. No, so asem aye case.
Before the committee,
no, no ada asem a, no ada one.
Just come out and say this without
consent. There are several examples a committee be at Nancy. I'm a witness there because as my mechanic the committee that report.
Yes,
we have several examples.
Yeah, who be brave?
If you strike assembly crowd by witnesses no call. No say the strike the Troy, and yet and no
catch us. I was so west after by election.
Yes.
Yeah, committee no.
Yes.
Now obitumi baba catch and say the written submission or the ban. Yeah, cause changes in there.
Yes.
Hwɛ na no ada asɛm ye sifa asutifi of MP a yɛse galamsey issue.
Yeah.
Asɛm di kan ba yɛn until say eti MP na asɛm. Then na yanka
Then I'll be so surprised to say Honorable Muntakamu engaged in our Koyansa no mobile out. I'll be.
It is possible.
But I'll be
it is possible.
I'll be shocked.
It is very possible.
Then I'll be shocked.
It is very possible.
Because when you parliament.
Yes.
And I always senior fellow in parliament.
Yes.
Anna or your member as in NDC in MP.
That's it.
It is a report to be saying indicting. Nothing stops you from engaging. Say, Mame, is that a full representation of what happened?
And until also, Senka ministry no submit me clarity. I think say some of ministries no sometimes
postpone
after
the press conference no.
I don't mean the account has to postpone. Maybe another no.
Oh no, I on the page.
Our postpone officially we release it. If that is so,
postponed.
We must still hear from her. Other than that, we will conclude say
they no correct. Okay.
So one my akwanya am ye ntia mfina no dia.
Yes.
Na no so say koba say na obi send message by o kan na che say o ya say ba omia so dey send no na che say political career na o dey ba wi no. Because now sin nine o china o sin nine no answer nye nine bi me.
But the fact is say
enti e say na akoyo. Ye de ye nyina de TV anima ye hunu ye. Ye nua no ma na o mo ka so ado mo ka kire ya TV. Ye o mo ani gan ni o hunu ye. O mo nyina e kire say how akumsi no te wo no. Election bia antwe ti so a violence enkoso violence no so koso a ono akase ginam bi.
Can we also say that she has been threatened in any way?
Threatened by and then why they bet me well now koyo the current MP ya threatened
no kunu ya national security
operation
director penin ba kopa amini no and nobody can threaten na koyo. Nobody.
Well, then she would have to provide some answers to us. No. Also, to me, the answers.
Nobody can threaten the
criminal offense.
Yes.
Because you are compelling somebody to conceal information from a public officer.
Yeah.
And that is a crime.
But you see, me problem in say, minister, I can't say, you will be more and they were not willing to talk to the committee and investigators. Oh, my young Sanko Fono.
And the more they say, no, too. Let's also establish that the report read by Muntaka was not complete. And there are a lot of holes in the report. In short, the report is a half report from Muntaka.
Exactly what I said here. Yes. I said it's too early. Said, yes, press conference. Because one, yen here fully say na yen communicators no mo ma problem because who better say anas one can ya one we akọ kan bibi afun obi na make just say
who defend him for
who defend God
wo kana one can ya as wo kan tia mutaka
o ka tia mutaka
wo kana ke say
o ka tia na akoyo
but
na
wo kana no
atamu nyambe wie enti no men kasa asem ya mo ma yen join discussion ko na yen ko deep na hwe mu na asem wem nim say be sa bebia ye be discuss asem we
there's some culture be a cultivate to Ghana to me worrisome.
Okay.
Sa samba. MP dey who can see ya. Ye mad the other party the opportunity to speak. Na ye go yeah. The same thing happen what na call your day. And MP before now set agenda na man you. And then this for we are just following agenda and
MP set the agenda in this case. Me enti almost set the agenda.
MP almost set agenda.
Yeah, interior minister na na me boa.
Yes, but
the other side. I'm saying say listening to the other side yeah, MP before dictate me. Because MP need the buy no. MP ni kasa yo.
Yes.
Now so MP before try say no incite youth no. Even the police statement, official statement, almost say alleged incitement.
Okay. Tina, first thing I'm right all time na fine.
Enti na note dey ka nwa kusini say. MP na koyo. Yen dey report na or the my during the elections. Ye jitum say they are true because apart from ono no yenya nkrofo a na omo so ho bia omo ka kire yen say enioma ABC ekoso ewo police stations ho. Enti say na report aba na say report na capture sa enioma na yesre no nchechi mu ho bia on fam rain se be se esi nkonwa na ye ka ho nsem a ye nkodi atro ana ye nkoka nsem bia enim na ye nyina be hu se abato ekoso na enu nti aban bi tumi a o penti otumi hwe moja guye okomi krom techima na ye hwe moja nipa nwotwe moja guye aban na ntumi anya nu mpo anka say sorry to sabusuafo no na aban bi aba na opese ye hwehwem ne ehu no kra ewom na be de poma sini sibre no ye ntumi nya den emfa sini yie enti ne mo bia ne contribution bia also de ban ye sere no on famra na ye nyina ye ka asem na ye hu be bia di full stop basic na ko ba say ya question say
menu about John Junior Mohammed Miss Bahudin Osinana na call your okay let me get that Nana Osinana call your must still speak about this issue Prince Kujo Fusuwa Resmuntaka it says senior we dey refuse what's na men kind man na we dey me kind Muntaka baka say me dey no so men kind professional journalist we say Nana I'm serious die hard and this but I don't trust my senior comrade Honorable Muntaka. Every day meet me kind messages like this they're simple for me but you see questions where say maybe we closing chapter on this Neymar 13th African Games now call Leonard make sure on the on the debate on TV3 with how I come see and you realize that now call when the name ahead of how I come see in terms of knowledge and only the consequence of and true
yes.
Because what you see near Jeja can make us you have caused fear and panic.
Yes.
Well some no can name to say at the end I remember with the intro like she knows until I make us maybe who are anyone because then a band is saying that only or Sanami you know, me say I'm communicating. What would make us say?
And I put them make us say.
It be a tea on also side that a bad wine, like you are saying.
So because some say, I was nearly killed. As I say.
Okay.
Ebi always studio. Me never watch it. Gano antisa. But ebi me never did me susu say. Obaso be you bibi.
Okay.
Oba no am metun wo hanti wa ya basa studio ha. Can you say you were nearly killed? Yes.
Oh yes.
Because we don't know where then.
Target.
What I say?
Senior,
but
don't rationalize this.
No.
Let's go to school. If indeed Nakoyo said that,
what
and it's proven in the committee report saying let's condemn it. Let's apologize. Let's move on.
Say, I was nearly killed. It doesn't mean we are waiting for her to speak with us
because MPP in the year can condemn it. So that's it.
The American say,
my emra.
So because I am now,
my emra.
Yes, and then you put one as you know.
Mati.
So we need further and better particulars to establish in
Mati, Cambrofo. My emra, the next topic. I have no Namuha. Hana Cronfo. Me, I am there. Oh, now for your case, you got the insured and your case.
They were bread there.
Was it?
You were break a car.
Oh, you're break your one.
Oh, okay.
I said, I'm on more than one no monka and China 45 in the bomb of French. See, the Uncle 13th, all African games, right?
Yes.
An African Games 13th
yes.
edition. President directs it.
Yes. Yeah, the President Mahamas.
But it will be a 15-15 answer.
Proud to the 2024 elections, you know. President Mahamas in NBC, you promised a reset. Now reset, you know, so no. Actually, say a departure from the impunity.
Accra100.5FM.
Reset, you know, a departure from criminality. Reset, you know, a departure from corruption and departure from yen change aban. And you know, one of the things I want to say, he has engaged some bodies, the Chief Justice and other relevant bodies say, you put up some specialized courts to deal with CCC, especially Auditor General's reports. In some woman send your money see she Canada last me can say course we for audits to investigate further to recoup funds in Inano. So we are Ghana no support here and it's a money. So it is a call in the right direction. Now on the specific case of all African games, many too say we call reports in the moon. Now we two boss now can't Nyaman okaya no kaka nyaman botu say obi sheda mu e plan say obi di omanyewu obi sheda e plan say obi di omanyewu na Afcon class kase na dey organizing ye to be for $260 million say ye dey organize 3-week event. Na say yet modern say Ghana your papa company oba table sika we say o de kaya organization within just 3 weeks na many ko nsam ni bi so no almost say hostels na omoji ye no ebi o ho a anase ni nyina na water heaters ni mu on say water heaters no be dware a obi o wa nsonyu no too cold for nimpa na also obi o crowd because of the medical situation into no ontumi ndware cold water no enti no omo fa adwin bi say omo be install the FN water heaters in the 4 hostels na omo giye no na no to da ko wo hwe cost omo de to so a omo say water heaters enko ano omo spending $143,360. That's what the baggan is came here bubuja. Sasika no mo dey install water heaters ewo rooms ni mu na ebisa say water heater kwa yeton ba ko ewo pi ba kesen na ya water heater ben na mo to ye brand ben ana ye the president Kufuor do di dwa we blame we wie ni mu bia na say na no type dia and na meti ase but say ye no type dia they have to come and explain to us water heater ben no mo install ya almost spending over $143,000. Say, I'm the quarters annual man. And so, almost say, was one of the stadium no the year, Mano, I investor of Ghana Sports Stadium. Almost say, Sika the year stadium no, and they say, when say, stadium no, so we say, oh, what part of that? Now, me what, yes, me name here, Benana, Oko investor of Ghana. Yeah, I was there from 2012 to 2016.
I was there before you.
Okay.
I was there from 2009. It was 2010.
Okay, which means I met you there.
Yes.
Okay. Time I call one. Na stadium ni siwo. But of course, in complete here. And since I will build this stadium from the scratch, Grana, Sikasa ne winya, no the stadium from the scratch. Almost say $34 million. Hey, Ghana for ya bro.
Scano ye make it 12. Among calculate a deal see this.
Watch bomber me. $34 million.
No at the time 16, the times Mahama na ya dia manaba 10. For Mahama times
yes, then 16.
Yes.
Na
afeni di nkomo.
We on man say ya. Na se nya adwene bone na wo twi ma na ye bo apayo. Na nimpa ye ka na wasem nyina Mustafa your friend say Yusuf
minister.
For me I because National Service Secretariat and National Authority in some AC no he was part and parcel of Sakon course war National Service no. And by the same token,
for now he has not been indicted or he has. So for now
allegedly.
Until you because allegedly to be on the safer side.
Allegedly, Konene course war National Service Secretariat no. Na oye part and parcel of it
because he had oversight responsibility.
So in the same way, can we extrapolate? Say, and why be not the core sports ministry one ana? As I scheme ni biya not the core one ana. And I ain't to be too.
Oh, so this is even a question. So.
Yes, because what's the bottom man? Stadium no any eduma we almost spending $145 million. Je say omo hwehwe Ghana kra omo so mo si bibe e fe no Games Village ni say omo aba pata bi ni some nyeme bi kakra wa say nkofo games omo athlete ni guest number e bi omo tumi agi omo ni kakra wo ho and no miska omo spend here $16 million. They say for first state report no omo file ITI request na omo saka sa report we na omo saka nsem na omo confronting no or say the national security investigations of the subject matter in the non kasa ho enti for me say you see omo to abanma NDC for the way omo to abanma on several issues, but one of the key issues enti Ghana for to aba say no to ye no is on the issue of on what accountability. Say na Ghana for the do na giti say krono any dream bi akoso wo na adodan kwakufa do abam as ye jai omo satena so a sa dream ni yenye ho ma sibre enti na say dey ye to omo. And of course President Mahama gave them the best alternative. Say me ba me di be FN ora operation recover all loot baba. Na Ghana forces so what the operation recover all loot baba dia and the boy e the team na shawansa and oba yeso no when the Ghana for him he set up a committee of eminent men say omo investigate we no omo compile them report ni nyina omo say at the end of the day no if you are able to change omo we second to the letter you better recover $21 billion. And Sasika we are come was $260 million no e kan na baby so almost under con package na ye e be am for operations once operations no it's not defined until so be bok on now this skadodo na keshawa wan hwe wadwen ba so operations there there aboba na ye for operations is to say oh ye come meeting wa ha ye champagne phobia ha ye dwumedi na ye pese ye no ye hu meetings na ye wontoto ye faka afko ha ye beto fu wa ha ye ko restaurant ye bedi sanuama no operations almost spending $47.7 million. Before him get you $47.7 million on operations. You besides operations, but you see meetings. Meetings, no more meeting. Almost the hotel, like I say, almost spending $47.7 million. Then maybe says a Ghana your property. We take this as a way. It is a Jumaya Udiano. Obri, almost say rooms the name Muashi. What's that? No,
we are randomness. Also, operations has no receipt.
Yes, operations has no receipt. enti no obi o mpatom bo kron no mo disika ni nyina e ka operations omo wie omo see rooms no emu ohye dodo enti no guest na omo ba no omo ehuru ba de omo they will complain omo de di beko enti what do we do ye install air conditioners e wo 4 hostels na omo dey omo giye ni mu na they don't want to say get hostels na ya abandoned hostels so na nimpa dem students miss hostels na diaspora na me wo Elizabeth say madasa hostels nda enti no minim ehso a na ewo monti omo se yen dey ye install air conditions otu so unim Elizabeth say what na meda yes enti ehso be pa na ewo ma
diaspora
yeah diaspora ehso be pa na ewo ma omo se install air conditions na air conditions unim amount of use here 594,164
air conditions
594,000
cities and
dollars sika me bo bia dollars o
bibia dollars
yet your memory this cities na so yenyo mem pipi for omo ye bibia in dollars say na be bri te me fo ni so almost spend 594,164 dollars na mo de to air conditions na mo install wo rooms no you need agreement on invest in the choir because I deal with you in a temporary just 3 weeks air conditions grab to me and can win ya say nimpa be demo be 3 weeks pay invest you know because of electricity bill na
say so that will not oversimplify the matter say in the name of standardization e bi omo kwa amanone a omo so emam the air condition no bi into omo ba ha omo so dem anya hwe but how much is the matter?
Yes. You see, and your comment on here, baby, I can be hotels, where hostels.
Okay.
And since the Sassika we crown, it's Sassika we now air conditions, you know. Some can do work rent hotels along my demo. Sassika, you must somebody here renovation. The only renovation, I'm the control liver blaze, I'm the tall curtains. I'm the air conditions no sasi kan kwa kambo ma say rent hotels e bi baka so was that the best decision the wise decision at the time say e so make ana that's the question I say e bi say ye ho na me sound dey okombiom Ghana renovation renovation omo say omo ye wi omo fe no internal and external ceilings mintumi mu say dana ceiling say new say new and medical catcher say na eyelenya students demo enye structures aye ja wo ho e si room baby renovation some year no ceilings no some use 33,765 Ghana cedis
where they see this
dollars sorry
okay
it's not it's 337,065 Ghana dollars. Renovation. Say, almost see ceiling baby abu.
Say, cities in my head.
Calculating cities.
Me calculating cities na my head because we dey say.
Almost see waterproofing. Say, waterproofing to me. So mo ye baby say nsuo good down so a.
Back on there
337,000. 337,000.
Okay.
And $65.
So the 337.
So 337,000. Yes.
Times 16. Until we use 5.3 million Ghana cedis.
Omo dey ceiling so. Ceiling, and I said that the ceiling ni mo.
That's not saying. So 1 million cedis here, 10 billion.
Yes.
Until we see 53 billion.
No dey ceiling. Ceiling what da o. Omo say renovation, e bia ceiling baby atu. E bia e say sa sika we na mo spending na mo dey ceiling. Almost say bibi omo friend waterproofing. Omo you see $253,000. I say utum say nimpa de se na sheda atna de ma plan say ba bo ma na kron. Otom some bibi omo friend no covering of open drains. Oko University of Ghana, so University of Ghana very well. Open drains e oko Ansah and Dawson. But man, now a newly constructed edifice. And you are not going to cover any drain there. won't cover any drain there. So won't pay open drain now from the scratch. You cover the drains. Almost say, and no, almost $131,200. They say in the same vein, and also a call almost 40 billion.
For 2 minutes, we are.
And see, last one, almost say pavement, horticulture and landscaping. To say, almost all University of Ghana, baby, I'm to pavement blocks in Bioho. Now, on my flowers, on my some I can't say beautification around the stadium. Almost say, almost you see $118,000. No more the top, sa flowers, no more the sa beautification. Enti, sa what's no memo? Na we di ubu amansa. Na adwempa na we wotirimu. Anasa wo ba sa obo man no. Na when you are last make be say you fe be regime accountability and post regime accountability. Regime accountability ni say abanati so we make sure say wa point is dwumedi omudi no obetumi aye den efe bi efe monitoring evaluation and what monitoring to see say when say nipa so o man nipa unfettered access almost power corrupt and absolute power corrupt absolutely and one check meti oma definitely some of them will abuse their power. In the last 8 years, President Kufu and Dr. Baumia measures Ben Omdu to Akwemu to check their own appointees in terms of corruption. Say making sure say appointees for no omo the omundi dream. They said the way Julius Debra, Chief of Staff, I said, ye declare measures to Akwemu. Code of conduct ni bibia. As a minister, as appointee of the government, as CEO, you know what you are supposed to do and what you are not supposed to do, and he's keenly monitoring those things. And your friend regime accountability in the last 8 years, it be ankoso. And to the akoso post regime accountability or my fiso, and to know and yamana course on affairs dead. To
the crack
and to the crack for me, President Mahama, the call for forensic audit is in order.
Okay.
Forensic audit then ye be trace say once one city echo silim ye be numa suko ahwe say e ho na ekọ ya na ye be numa suko so operations wo ka ye meeting hotel say wo de aduane say ye be trace ahwe say sa ne ma no ye ya mpa na enti no eno na ye fe no forensic audit. Let's audit the books and see Omuso obi ye aduane medisi kra no the next antibody to ejere former secretary to the former president ejere
oje contract no
15 days no ye aduane for 15 days pe oje 15 million Ghana cedis
see or the 150 billion cedis and no aduane for 15 days.
Yes,
every day be as 10 billion
not the aduane every day
na boso yusu oponko ne
Bonsu, and I'm not here. What I say?
Is it
Chronism, and every for no yard there. Well, chronism, no, go share SM contract in a sa. I'm one of Mutuam. No, me, yes, in a Mijawa, baby, a person fan crying, yes, and it's not to fancy and not Miniam saying, Emblem. But that's it. Nako Consul up, Miniabam, and I'm telling Cano. I'm not going to give you.
Nana otu ase asam de ba ese ye ka ensa se ye jai ka but mesre bibi pa ebisa MPP administration na ba from 2017 to 2024 no o hwe omo ade papa omo ye no Ubeka nkra wanhwe ya wonya 1% because almost bia no mbeke bia na ye krono enti ase omo sheda specialize say omo ba be boy krono adwuma bia no MPP ye wie ya ye hunu se krono ambem ampo free SHS mpo a ya si o your boy nsem mo papa no Odia omo be hwehwem be hwehwe sika na omo so omo de no aduane de ma nkwala no mpo a masa woyem mpo be hyew enti MPP de wohwade bi omo ye bia na chase kro no wom owie PDS foya na nse ya omo issue kra ba omo de akokota yi PDS fo akoko wini a ye kro no ama se enka DS ne nya DS bone but implementation in crofo na omo eye ade no ohwa krono plan nko ana omo de bae ade no enke ebia ade na omo de ban nka yo nanso said the omo be ade na the end of the day na krono plan 15 days yet you say 3 weeks 2 weeks 14 days in 2 weeks and you only 1 day pen better also
2 weeks 1 day
1 day
you know 3 weeks
3 weeks. It is yet you can say 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, babe.
From 4th.
No, 8th.
8 to 24th.
8th to 23rd.
24th. 24th.
Yeah, so
but 24th from Krasoman in the
way because sadness I am
closing ceremony.
And 24th. Games and no, 2 weeks, 2 days.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
16th. That means 16 days from 8th. When they are from 8th.
19, 20, 21st,
24, 16 days. And then
2 weeks, 1 day.
2 weeks, 1 day per.
And
only says he can waste got air conditions.
50 billion now, or you can't know.
Yes, and on the one for only 15 days.
One days,
even 16 days now, 17 days now. What you say? Into one wajit. What you say? Obing Tnasia, Embes, shed them, say you be dini. But adia yen say MPP administration or mobile yen ankasano adia bia plan bi o mo fa ye bia fa krono plans say o ba betena say na only 2 weeks no ba be say 200 and something million US dollars Legon park here or we park we say enya the stadium ni nyande o omo start here nyande enti se nka omo sha se mpo na nka omo awie mpo aka mingi ni se ska we ena omo de beye ena nuoma
so omo de bi nso ye botema
oboti odi awemfa botema no gina odi starting nyina from scratch
botema and then from the scratch almost $145 million.
And now with a
University of Ghana Renovation, $34 million.
And the only year hostess no quite $60 million.
And me bow say only one stadium. At me $145 million.
Corruption baby. MPP bako corruption baby.
Oh, omunina adina say planner omufa ye nyina ne se momayen fa planner ye be ya ye di be didi but enya planner e de be boa ye MPP ba be pe your friend say power say we ni bie mu so omutena na omodwene ho ye pa so omaha oman no omotiti Ghana omama ho akere no ye bre nyina nde mintimi hunu say ye call communicators ye ko share MPP communicators omu down to onya no kasa no mu kasi in Ghana ye say
match oma to man no ko
no
want you be antu mo benya no
antimre bia sema ya me kan say Ghana
wo pa mo nche baako mienu ntum na say bipi ni beka so kroma
oh yes na say ye gu ebi ni so ye di bebre start court enti di bebre court na ye ko no ma ye hwe ni ye bekwa kosi ba ni me minister ye mpenifo ne say Ghana for
intro no if NDC is serious to find us, create special courts. See, me how I
President
I don't know yet. Auditor General report.
Yeah.
Want to me monka.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, want to me monka.
Create special courts.
Yes.
Oh, can no for that time want to me mo give to one more asibemo abuakwata mo. Those guys they are candidate for jail. They need special courts. So I say
And guess okay,
because when him say JT question there no. Almost that every day no.
JT question every day. Why you pampering them? Why?
Maybe I am come say NDC for mama mama ye nyane te se said katawachi katamechina me so member katawachi minim say NDC for
President Mahama will never do that.
yes yan yiri ya ho pa say ye begina ye nan so na because Ghana for nya ade ba company say on person mu si ye gelin crofo
Yes.
enu na ye Ghanaian say niji o Ghanaian say niji anya say de omoto abama ye no enti omo yiri omo ho na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama de minim say ono papa we there the last time ni o last time no so we ye ne fata na woko after all the mpenufo omo ba bebe ekire omo de ofe no omo ba omo so tikta wachi no omo ba omo so atimi agina so atimi awini election na se wan yire wo ho ama ya Angelin Crofo a meka wona NDC 2028 ya be campaign ya ho ba kire ya pa enso kanya campaign because amanfo pese ehuni se na ye ka omu di siko omu gbokro nu o omu yese yo eyampa na nanso ede ni ehunu Attorney General say mama yem America krikri say de America de be ya at the end of the day yentimi njeli obia because wanya evidence ni yia yentimi njeli obia bi ni say untumi de ya oya okoduru kwemu a untumi general director and director general manager say ono de general manager was say ono de baby ade na eduru no obaba be di adanse ama oman no efisi ne course no no wo hobi enti wo musin ka wodi America krikri a kai wan wi anka ne ebe nka yensa anka sorry enti me de ne ameme wan pese me kan se muma yenya abotre minim se NDC ye beye
da me nya abotre da ka no forata baba Ghana
da
until that me nya abotre mamunne Minya botrema mochina
can
Koreata must come to Ghana
ebi na wo kan say
because OSP me pegu no
OSP dia
ama mate ase
MPP kaba no
na OSP dia why say dem me anu kan
OSP cry office me good
onu say no onu okakaba no hu bi
na say
omu shede na omu de ne de tra
o say kono Koreata baba Ghana NDC for me mama sundwi okuru ada
onu de minim say MPP for shede pa na omu de ne de edit na ho say omra na say omukọ a omra na ombeboa omu enti enu ana o protect omu no me de minim say enu ana o ye but minim say adena ye step by step minim say obekọ minim say step by step onu obekọ because wan kwa ye ntimi nya hwehwe aka no for that asem a wo ken masa hwe nipa ye wo abem na Attorney General ebuso se fa docket no fa brene na menya ho adwuma osi no adan wona wo ye oni na be prosecute ni pa no wo sa ebia right no ni nta no se fa brem na me menye
ebia oni
na asem keke na meka se me man polite yi kakra
oni
ena se fa docket no fa brem na me nto aso mfiri a wo se da bi me nte bi da menye se wo ye ni se a obia ni beba wo so se wo hyada na wo to na wo ne MPP fo nche se omo ma usika ni ntino why wa gni se wo katakata omo so
no dey say wontimi
nka enta me ka se allegedly mini evidence enya me anka se allege si e mani sika ntino o ye sa se enya sa dia enu di enka se odi docket ne di koma Attorney General na Attorney General timi gina so no ye ne obeya amaye enade ne yehu ebia ne ye ken se uka MPP for corruption a bebre kwa hwe mami ya ne wono wote parliamentary selecting Asari
yes
nipa waka on ngoma bi wa nana otu ngoma bi wa otu na sa otu na wo yem hihyew
ende
wona na wo ye deputy minister finance minister kronu a a course one yina no me course one yina ye kan wasam Ghana fo sui na wuti obi wani mu a na obi a ono agokọ setting the exams na mase no asa agokọ tro the exams no asa ba betra se muso won sa betra se no sa market Ghana aden money tua pazi sa maami wei na waka ho bi ena nsem a yesu bebrebe nyina na ekoso
Sam George like in a funny way everybody being or draw the in when time Sam George
yes
in a funny way Sam George
what's up brother
onja name calling
so no him say be doing so
I saw we
enu
Sam George me feeling no
Sam George there Sam George yes on your no fa ho ana we enu tana sa MP we your friend is saying independent candidate you free A plus actually akwose there be ma me no won fatese wotena ba bia wote no everything krono aye body nyina ma me wo ka ho bi omunyi no but enso so on so aye
almost speaker need to me kokos na mo
de de ko
park bia no opposition leader
yes opposition leader na yes
opposition member
and you know na say obi any right so betime you ba so eye de ni dini so abem no easy ade ba kwa e won say aba be that record no say ya tro ni dini aba hazard aba parliamentary hazard no so say ya ye de ni dini akọ si yenyi no petition aba ati anu no kra mpo no ye doubteo say wo what tenase amanu ma we nyina akọ so apesa aba be tenase wo sori a wo ba be ka tira man force wo no wonnim ne e cause wo no nim wo na we accountant wo no nim economy wo no nim say de kesese ye azu sansem wo nyina wo sa to wo busa nyina ye wo time so na e bae enti dia asem na wo bisa ukronfo no ankasa na wo kotena na wo wi ade no waza ba be tenase sa ba be sheda apreta ni se woni mu ade no wo hwe dia asem na Ghana ye koso yi
convocation mo ana no
dia asem no enti media meni hu ni se Ghana ha ankasa no eni efa MPP hu no se dia menu otuka ye no mumma ya friend say we obewu kra mo fa no nto ambulance kana oforiata mo man fa no nto ambulance no omra sa stadium we asem aye kana sa games we asem aye kenyina yan kwwe ono na prove ni nyina
obekaya I'm different yes about airport obekaya COVID
time
yes now how much were they paying
$150 per test
Ghana for
per test
I forgot to make
on the Nigerian
at a point $70 million or so.
Yeah, they have 2%.
1 million.
Nigerian ni no mo de contract and man Nigerian ni no see.
I'm told say Zimbabwe na be there too.
4,000.
Àwọn kasa contract no wako for bi e
share. Let you Mr. Zenofi Nigeria buy.
You feel Nigeria buy. Yes, Akufo adu baba no boyfriend.
And the boyfriend.
Yes. The boyfriend. Jankroma boyfriend and na wo ho. Ono no mo de share nansa.
Na ono no nya 17 and no ma ya 1.
No ma ya 1. Because you dey man.
17 no ma kwachi no ma ka ye.
Oh that's here. And young ambulance issue we send ekosi here. Your man Jankroma contract unquotas papers. Chesikana na ewo mu. Unim Ghana for here uko overpass bon drawing bi o ma draw ho. Jankroma na o mu de sa yin de man contract in the man.
$25 million.
$25 million. Interchanges no
drawings.
Oh no yes, drawings ni nyina. $25 million. Yet when wo
I'm telling 16 it's 116 billion mako 25
what was even the purpose?
What was purpose for those things?
On one issue no
on one issue no cantonment.
So this kind of issue no
nansa $6 million no the quiet issue now need say nya we sika now $6 million no pen or the quiet
that is one here or timid a whole
$6 million pen or the year no I don't know we have a junk from $6 million that say nya we man or as here and or the quiet we kitty we the see or na akɛseɛ no wɔ ti woni bibie ni MPP ho a me say wobɛtuma atena se a wobɛbu
2 minutes
wobate wobɛbu a wobɛwie a wobɛhu ne sɛ adeɛ wɔ MPP yɛ no wɔyɛ ni genuine way ma Ghana dabi da ɔmo plans ni nyina na ɔmo de ba ɔman no mu ne sɛ ɔmo ba na ɔmo aba bɛyɛ na yabrɛ na ɔmo adi every say ɔmo sɛ yamfa Ghana amfa nto na wɔfa JB dan kwa enti for that matter no nia ɔmo ba bɛyɛ Ghana nia so ɔmo bɔ Ghana form na ɔmo akɔ enti ɔmo ba no plan bi ani ma sɛ bibi ni ɔno ɔmo bɔ Ghana enti ɔmo ba no ɔmo ka sɛ mo simo pɛ free SHS because free SHS ni yɛde ba ma mo ne mo ato aba ma ne so yɛde ayɛ mo ne yɛde ba yɛ mo fɛnfɛn mo ne ayɛ ne yɛkɔ ba free SHS na yɛ
meba aha na yɛ wɔ no nyina yɛ educating crofo
yes
ɛnyɛ kufu adande free SHS by
President Mahama start here.
Progressive President Mahama Kwame Nkrumah
Started from the north.
And share free education we
From
know
the north.
NDC for more yet we are seeing no because Kwame Nkrumah started from the trade order.
You are right. Professional journalist. You are right.
Nkrumah Mahama.
Yes.
2015 John Dramani Mahama Elanchi
Free progressive
yes on the pilot basis
and to this 123 e-blocks
yes.
at various stages of completion
yes
according to Napu Anoye Minister of Education we 46 Article 25 Ghana Constitution let's say academics must be progressively free. Oh Anna Kufa buy Anna or nationalizing
yes
I say at a Kufoba mutual health insurance
yes
not Tamils by national it will health insurance national health at Tamils
yes
before your mutual health
yes
at Tamils national health insurance
I'm starting
education must educate people
yes
and you could afford the national health insurance by
you are right
because on time me mutual say district we are 8 minute district we Anna Tamils Mahama by national
you are right. You are right.
So let's educate the people.
Yes. Okay.
And there's 150 years to come, no?
I'm not going
to change crab. And you know, me adie bie ni wa eye MPP buyer or mo beye man Ghana. Adie no mo ye no. Masa omo enwia ye. Debi. And you know mo buy purposeless for sika. Omo buy purposeless say ya amfa Ghana amfa nhye. Amfa nto JB dan kwa.
Japadia document.
Japadia document. Hwe kwanya na nkomo pe ade ade afaso. Enya amanfo na sori gina ya. Enti for MPP dia masa misrew. Bibie ni wa obetima kira obetena obetro. MPP one na kira se enya se plan omo plan ye se na omo pese omo wiaye. Bibie omo ye dia na e kro no. Na omo angasa sometimes omo angasa enti na ma mra ye wie ye pe bebre dwane afi oman ni mu. Because who are the papa who Johnny and free or my musa, but because of dictating who is in your muyana and wayano, and tell a man that Omuna be a friend to know. Yaba fan is like a crack younger near Mamma Betty me, and then the sheer food in a Betty me. I am my
with us. I make up what it, John J. Asinia, no, no, who really see the senior watch German and I, Dimitri. One and I. Untuna na
mina naye Dimitri
oh sir me what
junior
Osahini na we sense I don't know amfa Osahini na so
Osahini Boati John Junior
yes
okay he's a strong man
oh yes
he's a strong man
no too appointreni bewu ama yehu ne tenti ampa na sa appointreni no ebi tintin wa pass na tailorfo omo tape measure. So bika kire me say na Akufo Addo a ogina hoyi so no pa na ebe fisu amabo ne tintin say ya free ni mu aba kaminji ni da we dey enya bonsu na amini Jona pa na amini bonsu minua se utie sa all African games here calls you sema the first question ebeba ni pe bia team ni say game near born or heaven and born Ghana. I am yet to learn from the scriptures. Say be a wo Bible mu baby a Nyankopon atro say heaven ho no baby o e frɛ ho Ghana. Na ho na say games you course. Other than that, me ngin this a Ghana hapa na say games in the course. Number 2, I am yet to know say nipa omo ba Ghana ha be ball no aye ball mo ho ka no omu ye nipa abo ade abo won na oba awo won ana robots abrofo ato mbo ase aye de agudie na ahyehyem na e ba aye nti e boss akawe eno achi biem no
ana say normal human beings ya
eno na pese mi hu say ye akosi broni na aba befa esika agudie na odi akohyehyɛ gold nko ahwen ka ho na say nipa no ba na ye boss akawe e wo mo ho ana say ye me ne wa oba wo ye bi na ya boss akawe e wo mo ho enu biem no epese ye san busa o na me no ti he na no tu say ye kofa Mustafa Yusuf aba obetumi a kire ye pa say Legon ye wo baabi wo ho a omko renovation sa renovation no ho ka na wabu amayin obetumi pa kire ye say na me no ti he ye wo baabi a wokwa akoboka 5.3 million Ghana cedis on ceiling na ba mu ko Legon no say na ceiling ni mu dan biem ena ma meka ma yahu man ka ho asem da na games yi be ko ho na minister okwakubo ceiling na ceiling no nko no renovation o enye se ceiling mu no de kwakubo na no 5.3 million Ghana cedis hey ma convert
tira se tete no
5.53 billion asem ne yake
ai ho ne hia me
enti mu ko no tu Legon na mu ko ye no say na mu ceiling ni mu dan mu ni e de popa na aguso
ceiling go baby
oh David David oh na no tu etu pese o ka chem say Mustafa Yusuf o twantro Mustafa Yusuf o twantro oh na bam mo pa che say Mustafa Yusuf ka say on the $18,000 akwasi broni dollars and onu dia kwa pavement hey na papa we pa ya money contract so nsie heaven there nyankopon be we no de ka o so no hey na maybe so heaven de nyankopon se ho efe pa
ya de kuro bebu no
da se de ko de se Ghana ni a ehia no Ghana ho che wo krom ha o na aho che wo krom ha nyina echi na notu ye ma osika se fa ball man hu bra na se wo de obe wie bi mpo because ye de yini mo dada se mo be wie bi mpo na so be wia sika we ya Mustafa Yusuf kan wasemi sebi wo sie di amawan me de me hu se ye ka asem we no na ye pe ne puma sibre anu yie na ye pe ana me boa
that's right
na no tu ye fra di bi constitutionalism na constitutionalism no se o breaking it down wa de kire ni say strong institutions that are capable of ensuring good governance. Okay. Now, so we breaking it down. I know that we need to be kind. There were two pillars. There were regime accountability and post-regime accountability. So the BI can say you can't appoint you now. You will attend here. Appoint you we no be a 29 ko. You be attend to 9 years sanka. The BI be mo your mind sika. Na ene se ne obi afọ mo sika abo ne bo. Edi bi ahyehyɛ ne ho di bi ahye ne tim so onyaa aka ne tim ikro be ma na fifiska na saska ni nyina wafa kwambo ne so anya no odi adwane akotena America na o se ya pai ne sisim wo kire o se ne nso no mienu ya tetim na o de report bi aba kire yen no ani nkrofo e ben no tumi bi o ma no ka kire okrom ha se o man ne ma kina this na the party asan aba power
ana se afan ma ka so be jun
oh me say ono ani nkrofo a mo ben no kenofori atabusu afo krom ha yeti krom ha yenim omo yenim se mo ka omo say papa no man ne mo kina gise the party asan aba power so so no firi nwura mu o ma biem dia ya kenofori atan o ma krom ha enti se nipa we mu nyina fa o ma sika no mo de ko na se yetena wa hwa nhwehan aside prosecution na yedi o mo go through no menua ade ba ko a one of the major solutions to solve problem we the office of OSP na person betin wasem yes me support this asem na okan na no to nim say ye tell sa office of special prosecutor no besi ne aka ya bo office no nko aho no over 4 billion Ghana cedis
saying
4 billion Oh yes,
4 billion.
4 billion Ghana cedis. 40 one say kind of old currency.
4 billion they trillion.
40 trillion bisa old currency no. No, na ya boss aka ya dia
4 billion around like 40.
Yes.
I was jelly ni person.
Oh, they make kamba. Saska we no. Odibi akoto ntade ahye. Odibi asiesie ni office. Odibi akoto bulletproof card dem. Ena odibi nso aye press conference. Ena odi ato nnwom ankwa no ma.
You oversimplifying.
Oh.
But the akoto is.
Na odibi twa nnwom. Say anyotofo ni twa nnwom ayom ska.
I say a operation.
So none of
odibi twa nnwom, odibi ohante. O say ankwa no ma. Me eni ametumi bia me mre no so ana.
Engineer no recording nnwom no twa.
Ai patwa ani. Otwe no so ka. Esika ni nyina bi no. Operations. Na ba.
Any receipt.
Minia, obeje di say OSP we yakotwere woni ono ani official website say. Obedi akonwa oteso no. Sika wanya dia ama o my Ghana ntia nto Hosanna nhia no ne dan kwan ano. Na yemfa ne ntina afunu mu say Yesu Kristo no. Eye a little over 1 million Ghana cedis.
Say.
Wa boka 4 billion. Yebisa ni say na wanya say a little over 1 million.
Enti na Ghana.
Ya boka.
Ya yare.
Yaboka.
So is it worth it?
Yaboka. No busa de say papa kise jaben. Ye de 4 billion she wo funu mu ma. O say 1 million pa na want me aja bra o man no. Na nipa do say na wo putu di o ma kogu jail. O say nipa 7 pe.
Na why no when
nipa 7 pe. Eno so din no we are yet to know.
Here listen.
Me say o hwe Special Prosecutor Act na preamble of the act no. Say mrebebe mu a wo. Me read the preamble no. Na ye nyina tie nsema preamble ne ka na ye hu se sometime ana ye ka preamble ho asem no me de ba mitima ye time I start ye this ye start probity accountability no e no de ba mitim say na ye krokro de jon hwa preamble no say Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017 an act to establish the Office of the Special Prosecutor as a specialized agency to investigate specific cases of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related offences involving public officers and politically exposed persons in the performance of their functions, as well as persons in the private sector involved in the commission of alleged offences on the authority of the Attorney General and provide for related matters. Yet ya kukurisa office na si wa tebiri 4 billion dia koma papa ni so ni na ni say obi a oya amanyoni okrom ha anampo ankran adwuma na oye na ofa kwati kwan bi so abo man ne kro no kisi eja ben ne office no omofa no famra kwan so nyi sesika no mo man no okoto sesika gu obi mpase a onko jimra na aba be press conference na osu ankwa no ma na the SML egu bank no bitima age Sapo point ho no o se o hwese regime accountability because amaya hu sa sika twitwi die 14 million euros ai dia koye all African games nke o se ye hu na ehwehwem hu ni se ebi fa ha na efe akwanmo ne so no Sapo na ntumi anye o no te ho ama gift your worry mu eye nneoma wo national service won tumi aka ho hwe adubua Kwabena adubua he for to talk fear ahodo over 25 want to be
over 25 or to me to 29 houses a day
no to Sapo point to come here na Mustafa Hamid oka wallahi we asika wa tebiri nye sika kotoa
why dey we
wallahi ba ku bia is equal to $1 million na kise jabi to come how Minia, Saki say Jabin to Chrome ya na under a phrase HS. Yasua cars, African ha, ato petrol guma kotechima, ya shifu fuela kotechiman, akotoba yere, ni asenya shifuela banka, had by Rena Begu baby say from buffer stock. Not techima for school bus at top petrol, asenya good techima for school car, asenya banka, some before by Rena kotofi techima banka, as I kotechiman.
Sankabio.
Yet to Chrome ha. Na ya tuka, ato petrol guma ya baisika. Ni dia kwete chiman akotoba ile guka num asia to petrol guka num bie masan dia bank ha na te chiman senior high school ohia ba ile ye aduane ama nkra di wo school mu no asan ya to fuel agu onu ni kan wo te chiman ho ase ya bankran ha e wa na fa ba yase to fu afufra gu ka no ma ase akotechi man free SHS buffer stock many pa oye sa free SHS buffer stock na odi o man na wuse no sa nipa na kasa nso tumi be ka kire se sika twitwi di on na yire chese romantic stealing romantic obi a romantic owi on nko a owie o oye romantic bro so one na yire
romance camp
yes one na yire no de ne sa tunu kom na chese on ne sa tunu kom mu di abasa kom omo to ayi odonyuma na chese ne ga na sika ebum na ekọ na Ghana sika na ebum na ekọ minu ya hwe pa say nipa ba akopɛ properties acquired no we apo ya ndo be ka che say be sin anke also de koto sa properties no we wakọ koto 5-bedroom house 3-bedroom house or cantonment plots of lands or airport enya sam kotoa che say okay ka sika just me ntumi mo me bo sika ni bia me yamba hye me ntumi mo na nabam na sanuma we nyina ekoso no na ye wo system in place to check say sanuma na enkoso in the office of the special prosecutor say eni say aban ni fisu kra wie Ansah na ya ba be hunu say obokro no say obokro ni because obi betumi discredit aduane akotra brochi friend so mra o ma enti se si awo ho no che no we have given you the power under this act say you can investigate who here Christ obi be ba ka kire say na obi be submit ne ho ama wa asan you can investigate Busan say Adi John Mahama at that time no nya o meye mampanyin former president yede ne krata ko tu no say e ba so hwehwem odi fie say so hwehwem ntem because President Mahama de o say bi o ye chini ba oso no ba de ye nya no tumi jai kenoforiata mane ne nam krom ha ya koe afi no be ka che say kenoforiata o SML kenoforiata o 42 charges against him ko for kenoforiata no say bra so nko fa docket ma Yewura attorney general no to me extradite kenoforiata mra eno so wo se wonye kosi koda kono ngo kaya onko onsuwa so awoma obi nsuwa kisi ejaben ye nya ode okuruma
oye boy
antiminua na notu se ye hwede ekoso nyina
that this is
media mi hu ni se sa akofo we ye omo okro no nyina na omo wo baka
okay
na na ye kisi ejaben in as much as we are calling for the prosecution of these people we should call for the removal of the OSP the time also yankwa no ma and na by papa na ye ni abro okromo
na mekope because utwa scratch card be ewo mu a o scratch ya utimi this smart TV gas cooker washing machine brand new fridge in the account me try say me all expense pay trip to Dubai na no na matter get it Mr. Bronya okwa bontin a Mr. Okase opagini ride no na ye dey call me anwa mo no na mpese me dey ye ojo love nso no container 74 mixture help street type for fever kidney infection hepatitis B abnormal pain STDs high blood pressure treat blood sugar so also be more so high blood sugar no me treat pa obi nso na no mu yinka ulcer prostate enlargement treat kura embassy be diabetes kuro who did another chame wadama asthma variances say be a wabrache lungs infection early cancer and a sickle cell anemia patient madrid will be also a bowache and heart related diseases. It's not 2074 mixture ubenya bi baby 0246073498 and 0501628931. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and enemies, and as Kwame Kwachi, AM senior producer Ote Patinka or no so boy and papa Emmanuel Lyinti a fly on Facebook. Watijan Junior, thank you. Linia Abam, thank you so much. First Honorable Indiki bin Sumutini. Come joining you on Facebook. It's a pleasure driving you from then to now. Now, party say na hwe manim yi adena na wafa ho so. Very well. Me didn't know to that. Ghana man kasama phone in here. I am the voice for the voiceless. Certainly the gatekeeper of this nation. Nyame adu me be share. I'm out. Stay on.